Whoopsie, hang on. Give it a second. Everything's got to load in. There we are. First time I did it, it didn't work. There was a lot of the stuff that was working fine, assumably, but I don't know. Maybe when I started my computer this morning, there was just a couple of things I didn't check, because I suppose I didn't talk to anybody in Discord, so, how was I to know that my NVIDIA broadcast was not properly taking my audio and routing it through my other stuff? But, we're here now. We had to restart everything and fiddle with a couple of settings, but, such is, right? I'm a firm believer of the longer you wait to mess with something, the worse off it tends to be regarding, I don't know, just like, if you don't stream for 3 weeks, it's bound to be broken in every regard by the time you get back to check it out. Like, was that Community, or was that the IT Crowd, where the guy comes back with pizza to the apartment and there's a fire, 2 people are crying on the ground, somebody's like running around panicking and calling the cops, is like everything breaks, right? It's my favorite part. What is it? You give me your hardest battles, right? And my boy, everything was true. Even the lies, especially the lies. But yeah, I'm gonna check a couple of things and make sure everything works out good. Alerts should be okay, because I know that my Spotify is working correctly. That's routed good. You can hear my voice as well as, I would assume, the old Discord and the alerts. I tell you what, man, I am cold. I'm gonna throw in some PJs real quick before we do anything. It has been hot, but today was freak snowy, rainy, just, bleak, stay inside, Coco reading kind of weather, and I wasn't ready for that. I'm in the shorts mindset still, so we're gonna have to rectify that situation and probably close my window as well. So we'll just keep the music on for a little bit and keep going. But I hope everybody's having a good, I guess technically it's still Thursday, though it doesn't feel like a Thursday. I've had a strange schedule today. That's not to say, not to say necessarily good or bad, but I usually assume Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays are ones where I go out, talk to people, do the thing, have dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever. But yeah, today was a short day, so I had some free time, so I went out and had some pretty good food. It's a lot of fun reconnecting with a couple of people I haven't talked to in a while, and it was good. It was a good Thursday, right? It really is going to set the tone for my Friday, which also happens to be free. That's not usually the case, so it's a fun little treat to just sort of have a 3.5 day weekend, right? You just gotta do a little bit of the chores and works and stuff, and then I'm off. Who knows what I'll do for the weekend. So this is an interesting part of the night. So I've already had dinner technically, but I could eat something, right? The I'm bored, so I want to go get snacks, right? Keto's worst enemy is, I'd like chips. I want popcorn. I want a Pop-Tart. I want garbage that is empty calories and very starchy to fill my stomach. And then, of course, you wash that down with some sugar. And as we all know, it was just Easter, so I have quite the stash of, chocolate, Girl Scout cookies, various like jelly beans and other, ishkabibble babble. But I don't know. I as much as I've been trying to be good, I have waned in my self-control with overconsumption. I try my best to eat some kind of meal and stay regular to that, and then just be engorged with sweets around that. But today was a bit of an indulgent day, so I'm may make popcorn later. I know that's like the worst decision because you get the gamer fingers and it takes 2 to 3 minutes to get it all popped up. So that may be like a BRB, and I decide on some pretzels instead or whatnot. But we'll get there. I'm not quite at the level where I'm going to make an executive decision to go to the gas station and get some snoochies, but we'll see how I feel. Okay. In the meantime, I think we should at least get into the game. I do like the beginning parts of each stream where I just kind of hang out for a little bit and unwind. I know I say unwind like I'm not fucking at the end of my day, full, ready to take a nap and just hanging out, but I don't know, excuse me, this music is always getting me sleepy. But I just feel like whenever I'm playing this game, I get particularly, I suppose tilted is the wrong word, but it definitely activates me, right? I lean forward slightly. I have the hunched, raised shoulders. My jaws particularly taut. It's one of those games that maybe isn't always scary, but it keeps me on edge. And that is a, good or bad thing. I'm not like stressed by this game. I still enjoy it very much. In fact, it's one of my favorite aspects of the series. The idea that the zombies are sort of I don't want to say not a background because they are and they aren't. It's interesting, right? Because a lot of zombie media that we've consumed, the idea is living, surviving in the zombie apocalypse. So, over time there's a communal aspect. In The Walking Dead, they had Alexandria, or they had the prison, or Z Nation, they had their little they had their guys moving west from New York to California, and along the ways they had little settlements and prison like courtyards and churches and stuff, right? Everyone has this sort of a area that they hole up in, that they set up shop, and they try to make as little movement as they can, to the point of like, by movement, of course, I mean like possessions and, an entire community shifting. And then in this game, it's sort of the idea that anywhere you go is going to be a problem, and the idea that it's an island of sorts that has been 100% isolated. You don't really have the luxury of going to the middle of nowhere, erecting a fence and concrete walls put up, and making a fortress. These guys sort of have just shacks, and it's really interesting because on one hand, you have the zombies that during the nighttime, they are extremely volatile. The nature of the disease makes it to where the night runners, the glowers, the whatever, the what have yous are really, really tough in the night. And, it's Minecraft rules, right? You're the main character, you control the fabric of time, and you can just fast forward through it. But in reality, every night these people are holed up and they're waiting for these things to happen. And I guess it's interesting, the idea that if this were to actually happen, nighttime would be horrendously stressful, and you would almost want to sleep during the day, because the regular old zombies just here and there, they kind of I don't know, it just feels like they have a certain tension about them that obviously, you have to be aware of that. You can't leave the house willingly. The runners have a lot of opportunities to be harmed, and that's why they need to be on their toes. They need to have the resources coming in. They need to regularly assist the people who aren't able to leave, like the elderly, the injured, or children. All of that stuff is fine and good. It's a really good atmosphere, but I think about how the idea that it's based on sound and that you could technically live among them in small amounts and be 100% fine is very different from how I know zombies. The idea that they are they have the ability to sense you, or I guess the uninfected, in a certain regard. It's something I've thought about quite a while, and just get some water. Just the idea that as much as I like zombies, I don't know, I haven't consumed it enough to like really go through like all the George Romero titles, a lot of really common ones, you know, like World War Z with Brad Pitt, Will Smith's I Am Legend, the Omega Man from the 60s, arguably one of the like the really big predecessors of the zombie franchise. You know, they patented the idea of people who, not unlike the ghouls from Fallout, have been irradiated, and they have a tribe of their own people who are conscious. And you know, it's man versus man, and you've got the classic, right? Like a zombie or a creature of some kind. Excuse me. Ugh. A zombie or a creature will detect the fact that you're, you know, not one of them in a scenario where they're pretending or hiding or something, and then there's that screech of detection, I call it. They're like, ah, and it's really loud, and it alerts all other sort of combatants around you, and then it becomes this huge chase. It's a really big deal. It's the focal point of the show, you know, all that jazz. So when I think about these series and stuff, there's never one that talks about the idea that they can't see. It's always assumed that even though they're undead, they have their senses about them in some regard. Maybe not sapience, and you know, they maybe not thought and the ability to reason, right? The idea that they're ravenous, going back to animalistic levels of de-evolution and just want to kill. But I don't know, man. I guess the long and short of it is I really, really like zombie stuff, and I like these different universes that they have, but I guess I can't really handle when it's particularly scary or there are jump scares. I remember I was talking to somebody the other day that jump scares are a really cheap way to just make someone feel like they are prey. You know, just the instant reaction, the jump scare, that like feeling of adrenaline, the panic, all of that combined together. You know, that's something we've come to know and love as horror people. But I don't know. I can't say that I can enjoy a series or a movie or something that's main version of horror is a jump scare. I think we've sort of evolved past that. You know, when I think of those movies, I think of like really older 90s or 80s movies where someone sneaks into a movie theater, right? They sit down and everyone around them is like eating popcorn and stuff, and then there's a big jump and everyone goes ah, and then, you know, maybe it does it a couple more times as that happens. But we're really not at that point anymore. The way that we have so many movies every year, just new directors, new studios, new, you know, new streaming platforms, right? Like this isn't a Hollywood production thing. We don't have the Spielberg shine on every movie. We don't have our 2001 A Space Odysseys. We don't have our The Shinings, you know, Clockwork Orange, all these like really crazy cinematic movies, these masterpieces that's just, there's just not a thing anymore, you know? The days of very inexpensive consumer level media really leads me to believe that there will be a time where maybe not phasing out genres, but the cliches that come with it are going to be completely changed. You know, I mean, how many more like teen movie romance ones where it's like boys will be boys, you know, like that old hat way kind of goes with older directors. And I really, really like seeing these new movies where they sort of change and shake up some of the cliches. You know, they stick to the formula for sure, right? Like a horror movie will have the plot, the bait, the like delayed release jump scare. Like I'm willing to accept that stuff. There's a certain way that things can be done well and not feel repetitive, but sort of stay within the brackets of, you know, we know what our demographic likes. And I think that's a very fine dance that is interesting to see it happen. I always say, as much as I love movies and love talking about movies, I feel like I never have seen enough to have an opinion about a genre or a specific type. Like, if you were to give me a movie TV trope or like a genre or maybe a director or maybe an actor, like I would be very hard pressed to find more than a couple examples. You know, like it's just in general. There's some level of disparity that I find, and I don't know. I think a lot of it is pretty interesting to think about, but in the same regard that it's, you know, I don't know where I was going to finish that sentence, but I guess I've made my point, and we can start playing the game a little bit. I figured I can save all the like cinema sins and stuff as I think of more topics, but it's always one of those things. Hey yo, what's going on, Jamie? How you doing, fella? I was just talking about horror movies and zombies as an idea because, you know, we're about to play some Dying Light, which, as you may or may not know, is obviously a pretty well-known zombie series, but it's a little different, right? The fact that they can't see and it's based on sound, and then that determines how a lot of people sort of hold themselves, right? No firearms, just regular weapons. But how are you doing, fella? How was your stream? Let me give you a quick shout out. We'll stalk what you were up to, huh? Let's see what we got here.
It's like making fun of League of Legends.
Oh, I remember
you know?
this.
I'm not a League of Legends fan. I think the game might be decent. You know, I do say that the game might be a decent game, a fun game. You could say it could be a good game even. But man, making fun of fucking League of Legends players is fucking hilarious. Same with Valorant players now. Valorant players is the kind of player who's like they really wanted to get into like CS:GO, but they're too horny that they don't like watching males, you know.
What the fuck? Sentai, buddy. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it as always. Junie, I hope you enjoy your emotes. We've got a couple in there that are a personal favorite of mine, and I've grown to really, really love Quaxley Stab. I don't know what it is about that boy, but he really epitomizes sometimes when I'm playing this shit, and it's so good. But yeah, I guess to sort of reflect on that, or maybe to sort of ping off that, when I think of League of Legends and, you know, sort of separately Apex, Valorant, CSGO, Smite, really any MOBA or a one of those like really quick flick shooters, I guess I don't think of the same person, but I definitely understand how there are people who kind of only play those games, right? Like you've got a dude who grinds on Smite, or like grinds Paladins, or League of Legends, or, you know, Apex, but like I feel like everyone kind of has that one game that is a turn your brain off and you don't really need to think about it. Like I've played Overwatch enough that, like, you know, it's not that I hate or like the game, but I'm comfortable with the characters I play. Like I can talk to people, I can do whatever I want and really, really not pay attention. And I think that's sort of the appeal as well with League, or maybe not Valorant and Apex, because those are very much like they're a different sort of reaction, and I think that's why I sort of separate them and put them more in the CS:GO category, because it's really like you can have people who are really sweaty in League, obviously. You can have people who are really sweaty in Overwatch or Paladins or Smite, but I feel like it's different from the CSGO crowd or the Valorant guys, because I can't tell you how many streams I've seen of people just, you know, sort of flicking through. I have some close friends too who stream Apex, Valorant, CSGO, all that jazz, and I don't know, it takes a special kind of person to be able to play that game, do it well, and hang out with people and not get like, maybe not upset, that's kind of the wrong word, right? But you know, they get in that mode, right, where they're like quiet, they're focused, they're trying to like win matches and stuff. So I don't know. It's not that I hate the game, but I was not a shooter kid, right? I didn't get a PC until I was 18 years old and I had moved out and gone to college. I was always a console guy, always had a controller. I wasn't like awful at games, but I had like a laptop with maybe RimWorld on it or um, Stardew. Very simple games that ran very low amounts. I'll never forget. I tried to, I figured out pirating in like early high school, right when I had internet at a buddy's house. You know, not something I was familiar with at all, but I had downloaded two games, Civilization 6 and Ark Survival Evolved. Now, I don't need to tell either of you guys that those games are not well optimized. They're a very large resource suck and frankly sometimes just don't work, right? Like you need to install mods for stability for Arc to run even semi good and you have to crank everything down and you got to behave, right? And this laptop I had was I don't know, 4 gigs of RAM, pretty basic built-in graphics card, really not a performance or a gaming laptop by any stretch of the imagination. It had a regular hard disk drive, no SSD in there. Very simple, like I want to say like an i5 or an i4 CPU. So Civilization 6 just never worked, right? I couldn't even get that thing installed, let alone running. But when I played Ark on it, I got the wild card opening credit scene to work run one time, right? Like my computer was like chugging. It instantly fan turned on max and it was like really struggling and it did that thing where like everything was kind of moving around as it was getting, you know, sort of resized and all that. It was a black screen for a while, but I after about 5 or 10 minutes of it being a black screen and like sort of just making the noise of the Ark game, it pulled up the wild card logo, which if you're not familiar, if I remember correctly, it's like an ace card in the sand and there's a palm tree in the background. When I say the palm tree loaded as a single polygon, I'm not joking. It was the smoothest, most hexagonal leaf I had ever seen on a tree. It was like Laura Croft levels of sharp, and it just it as soon as it got to that image of like the sweeping animation of the tree, it like locked up so hard the audio clipped a bunch and then my computer just died and it just went entirely black. I couldn't get the computer to turn back on for a good couple of days. I thought I had lost this thing. You know, I thought that thing went to the shadow realm. And I've had people who have had those moments where I think my friend Emma was playing Octodad and something about it bricked her laptop, and every time she tried to start it, it just cursed her, right? Just the most unridiculous amounts of resource chugging, fan goes on max. I mean, you guys know just from like middle school, early high school, where you have like a Chromebook or some kind of laptop to your name that's really not good. It's meant to open up like a browser and you can do some schoolwork at like a Word doc on it, right? But I never really played any like shooter games. You know, I wasn't the guy who had CS Source or like Half-Life or any early shooter or even really like a top-down like adventure game. I never had like a PC. I never fiddled around with games. Like the only thing we had was maybe like aside from like my mom's like work laptop that had Bejeweled and stuff on it, I had like a big old like Apple II box computer that somebody gave me, and that had like, you know, the most basic Apple games on it. It had like a Penguin Battle Royale from like 2003, which I think I still have on Steam that I was gonna try and play. It had like Spider Solitaire. It had like, I think I was able to get Windows on it, so that means I had the Windows 95 Space Pinball. I had really basic shit. So to go from that to someone who's playing something like CSGO, where you need to have very high DPI mouse, you need to have a specific like refresh rate so that you can see stuff better, like having to worry about tearing, the input lag, all these like very minute things. It's just, I don't know. It's not something that I would enjoy because I don't think I'm good enough at PvP to overcome that barrier of entry, right? Like I'm not one of those people who can go toe to toe with like really quick people. Like, you know, just a quick example of stuff that's not even close to Valorant or CSGO, like Tarkov. A very simple idea that has over time become extremely complex. You know, just the idea that there's a lot of systems, there's a lot of mechanics, and there's a lot of players that you have to deal with. Everything about the game is stacked against you. So the unfair aspect sort of moves away from quick game loop and people who can instantly tap on you because they've memorized the map. You now have an incredibly large map that's really hard to navigate. A lot of people maybe aren't super familiar with it, but then over time you learn the very, very minutiae moments of the map, how it plays, you learn foot patterns of people. So like it really becomes less of a shooter, and you can kind of watch and wait. And I guess like I was talking to somebody before about how there are some games that have influenced others, as most things do, but like one of the early progenitors of the idea of like a shooter, of a battle royale, of like survival craft stuff, I would say would be DayZ, right? Arma 2, Arma 3, those two games, obviously just like tactical, 20-30 people all in a military group, and they have to conduct missions to collect information or something really simple, right? But the idea is that you need to have a lot of people playing, so you needed to have friends and all that, right? What's going on, Melanina? How are you doing? And you just like you need to do all that stuff, and then somebody realized, hey, this is pretty fun, but what if I got rid of the need for 15 friends on a Saturday? What if some of my friends are busy and I just want to play this game by myself? So what they do is they set up the whole big map, and they just throw some like AIs in there, just very simple zombies, and they just kind of run around. They're like, okay, we have all the materials from the game, and you just figure it out. And then they're like, all right, cool, so you can kind of you can kill these things, and if we get enough AI, we can have them come back at you. And then eventually we add more people. If friends want to join in on the server at any point, they can kill me for stuff, and then bada bing bada boom, and a battle royale is born. You've got a game that requires you to play against other people's, as obviously as Arma does, but now there's a different goal. It's not getting good at PvP, it's surviving, it's doing these other things and understanding it. So I guess that's more my speed. I would definitely prefer solo games or games that don't necessarily need PvP. And that's not to say that DayZ does not have PvP. I have been with some friends who do Valorant, CSGO, like really heavy Overwatch games, and they will go and do high loot, high safe zone area stuff that you buy all these individual games or individual guns, and then you can go into PvP zones, right? As soon as you leave your circle of buying stuff with the currency, the mods can you can just go to the air base, because everybody knows that that's a PvP zone, because there's good stuff over there that spawns, and you can find somebody with binoculars, you can get a sniper, you can get a pistol, you can run up on somebody, but you need to do that thing that people do in those games like Tarkov or even Valorant to a certain degree, or I guess like Fortnite's a great example, visual sound or not. What people usually do is they crank up their headphones sensitivity so that they hear everything, and they listen. They like use their surroundings to try and figure it out, and it's really stressful. But that's kind of the same way that zombies games work, specifically Dying Light. While this game sort of encourages parkour and stuff, when you're in nighttime and you're going up against some enemies that by design are very, very difficult to beat, like arguably I don't think you're able to even kill them in the game, right? The Night Runners, the ones that can jump 3 stories, then run after you, they've got the cone of detection that they hear you, and if they catch on to you, you just simply have to run away. I don't know if anybody's played Metro, but that's another game that I really sort of refer to when I have this concept of the impenetrable wall that is an enemy. You get you're going through the sewers of Russia, and you have some jump scares, right? You've got limited ammo, you have limited resources, everybody's hauled up in train stations, and it's really dark, right? Dark in that it's just like there's no brightness, and those like dog things you have to fight, that's fine, right? Like over time you're just on your own, the patterns, to sort of sweep the map, kill everything, and you just kind of run through it. once you get up to the surface, it's suddenly really light out, and all this stuff of like saving ammo kind of goes away because you have much more shit. The only problem is then you run into those like vulture things that swoop down, have a lot of health, and kind of pick you up. So you got to like hide under stuff. You've got to like leverage things, and that's fine, right? That's a good use of the simple mechanics that they've moved and stuff. And then you have to survive better. Now, once you get a little bit further into that, past the points, and you have to go into buildings, you go into like a very large library, or like I believe it's like a hospital or some kind of like legislative building, like a town hall. I can't remember exactly because it has been many years since I've played it. But there are enemies that you come across that are very large. They're the juggernauts of the world. They're like 8 feet tall. They're super wide. They can't really fit through doorways, but they can smash into stuff. And you're unable to kill them, right? You can dump like 17 pistol rounds into them eventually and stun them or whatever, but the point is that you have to be quiet. You have to sneak around and go around them and avoid them. And I as much as it's kind of weird to think, as someone who's not good at PvP, unless they can line themselves up to be in a position to take somebody out and then go get their shit without really the stress or the panic of having to go one-on-one firefights, I sort of equate these games very similarly to how I play PvP. So just by the nature that how I play Tarkov is very like campy or very much like slow, and you go and like find somebody, post up and wait and listen, same way that I would play at Fortnite, right? Like, because I played Tarkov for a while, but I like one time my friend's like, hey, do you want to help me with a duo or whatever? And I sat in a bush. I waited and I listened and I like watched what people did, jumped around, didn't really do anything, but I stayed in the circle long enough and then got a couple cheap shots, right? Like in Call of Duty lobbies that have the really quick sort of recessive game loop, in the same way that CSGO and Valorant have, like, they've sort of maximized that game's like quick. The people hate that shit. They hate that you camp. They hate that you post up on the wall with a shotgun, get a cheap shot as soon as somebody comes around the corner because it's like a cheap KD. But that's honestly how I play, because I'm not exactly batting 1,000. There's no way I can keep the flick of these people on CSGO who have super sensitive mics, doing all that jazz, yada 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 yada, right? So I like Dying Light. Problem is, all of that in mind, all of the like ability to like leverage stuff, know what you're getting into, and like be very confident and concise and move through the game strategically. Then you take in the horror aspect, where it's like geared against you, jump scares, lots of enemies, getting overwhelmed, fast enemies, all that stuff, things that can climb, that can get up in your face. I am terrified of that stuff, and I refuse to go at nighttime unless I absolutely have to. So now I'm in sort of this, I call it fat shit limbo of, do I enjoy this game, or does being on the edge of my seat something that I'm not used to and I enjoy that? Because I don't know that I necessarily like the shooting in this game, but I adore the ability to hack and slash through stuff with melee weapons, because this game has no shooting whatsoever. There is later on, but if you fire off a gun, every single zombie in the entire island is going to come towards you. And I'm not interested in that. So, we play with melee, and I like the ability to conk shit in the head and just explode their face, But you can't do that in Valorant. You can't do that in CSGO. There's really nothing you can do with melee, unless you talk like very specifically. I remember we were playing, I want to say it was Black Ops 3 or Infinite Warfare. But we had all melee lobbies where we had like the nunchucks, the katana, and I remember I played as this robot, and it was really funny because I wasn't really used to, like, I didn't have my settings like how the other guys played. Those dudes are CSGO people, so they've got the headphones cranked up, they have like sound effects and ambient all the way up, they have gunshots maybe turned down a little bit, but like they hear me coming a mile away. They made the joke that I sound like a fucking cash register, ka-ching, 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 because I was a robot with metal feet and I didn't have dead silence or whatever the perk is to, be quieter. And I didn't stand a chance. They heard me coming a mile away. They knew that the gun I was using wasn't particularly good, and they were comfortable with like using their weapons because they've always played Call of Duty. So you know what I did? I got really good at sprint sliding, and I took some nunchucks, because if you hit somebody with nunchucks, because of how close you need to be, they're an instant kill. So I would just fucking slide around a corner and bop somebody and just kill them. And then one other guy started noticing that I would do that, so he did only nunchuck runs, and when he and I would come at each other, it was really funny, because now it's like judo. This is equal playing fields, and you have to sort of leverage the other guy, because I believe if we hit each other at the same time, the nunchucks like canceled, so you had to kind of like turn to the right or turn to the left a little bit to try and hit him, or like maybe he would switch to a katana that was more of an angled slice than it was like a sideways hit, and it was really fun. And there was this, once I got killed like 100 times by all these people, I got to a point where I was enjoying Call of Duty's multiplayer way more than any of those other guys, because I was just running around hitting stuff, and they were like, "Oh my god, Jackson, stop! That shit's so annoying, bro. What the fuck? It's a one shot. It's dirty. It's cheap." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I mean, if you want to, you're more than welcome to play nunchucks or katana or whatever. I mean, you guys have all the dark matter skins. You've maxed out this whole game. Like, surely you have all the melee. You're more than welcome to." They're like, "Nobody uses melee though. It's like, it's just not something that people do." And I'm like, "Okay, but what about Halo? Halo, you can use the energy sword or like the gravity hammer. That thing you tear people up with. You don't have to be good at like SMGs or sniper shots or anything. If you suck at that game from a shooter perspective, you can fucking crank out with the gravity hammer." No, exactly. I'm never one to I'm never one to call bullshit with meta. You know what I mean? Like, you know how some games like Valorant and Apex and all that, there are accepted weapons that are just more useful than others. There are burst fire guns that are much better than a shotgun, or there are some like SMGs that just don't have the fire rate or the damage, right? Like there are people who have spreadsheet out those games and they know the exact weapon. So you know what that means? Like, chances are quite a few of those people in Apex or Valorant will be playing a couple of different classes. Obviously the skills of like being a medic or having, the ability to like read somebody's sensors, you can tell footsteps from far away, like all that jazz. Like that's real easy to what do you call it? You can easily discern a couple of different game styles, but at the end of the day, it's all going to be pretty much the same game over and over and over, and that's just not me. I'm not one to play that. I'm not interested in grinding out a game for 500 hours and getting really good at like one thing. I think that's a quick way to burn out on a game, and I think that it makes it not fun. So people who play those games are only interested in their KD or maybe like competitive ranking, right? Like the proof of, having that number get higher and all that jazz. But it's fundamentally the opposite of what I can do just based on my own skills. So like, I love the idea of playing a game like Dying Light, or maybe even Tarkov, even though it's really, really hard and people do get sweaty, or like just Call of Duty lobbies like that. Like it's real fun. Like I went and played Black Ops 2. A lot of like simple shit that we've gotten used to with Cold War, it's real bad. The only thing that max ammo does is refill your max clip. It doesn't refill your current clip. You have to reload stuff a lot. You've got to do weird vaulting. You have to drop a kill streak item before you can pick up another one. You've got to do all this stuff that's like really awful, right? It's not polished like Cold War is. They really went through and took every single one of their complaints, and Sledgehammer went through and changed most everything, and even included vaulting, which I would argue is like zombies and like trying to train and kite stuff. A vault is perfect, but it's fun. It's fun to think of how many games there are out there, and then there are people who only play League of Legends as like a turn your brain off game, or they'll only play Valorant, or they'll get on CS, play for 5 minutes, and then do some keys, and then they'll shut it off and go to bed, right? Like, it's interesting. I'd like to talk to those people who really only play shooters, because I've never been in that mindset where I grind that stuff out. It's not second nature for me to want, like, I don't reactionarily open up League, right, and play like a game and shut off. Junie, I don't know how much you've played of the Metro series, but I never did end up finishing 2033, the first one. I own Exodus and I own the bundle for all three of them, but to be honest, I got so scared at the librarian part that I didn't continue past it. But the story was pretty good. Talking about the Ascended ones and like, seeing there's like evolution within these enemies that have taken over, it was really I don't know. I would like to go back to Metro, but I worry that, not unlike Dying Light, I would have to take a while to get used to the horror of the game. I would need to get very comfortable with it, flush out whole areas, run through it a couple times, be familiar, and sort of lose the prestige and the mystery of it. I don't think I got into it when I played it. So I guess I would ask, what about it was not interesting? Do you think it was just too boring? Do you think it was sort of the same game with each area? Because from what I understand, I don't remember much of it, but you fought the little creatures as well as other people in the metro who were not necessarily bad, but they were German Russians versus like people from Germany, or they were like, I think there were even Nazis in that game as like, or I don't know. I was expecting a more in-depth survival game, but it felt like a normal shooter. I think that's fair. I think that the fact that that game sort of overpromised, and maybe with the books, that's sort of why we had that great expectation, because the book was fantastic from what I've heard. I have a lot of friends who have like done essays on it and they've talked about it a lot. I haven't read a lot of it myself, but from what I gather, the book is really well written. And I think that's hard to translate a book to a game because there are just some mechanics that will take you out of the idea of a game. Maybe they're trying to go very, very like difficult, that they weren't really doing survival. Because, you know, at the end of the day, there really isn't food, there isn't hunger, there isn't resource management. You know, as you move through the area, you get ammo, you get health kits, you unlock new types of enemies, right? It's very much the shooter formula. And I would say Survivor games, the only thing that makes it feel like a survival game is the fact that you're alone and it's not multiplayer. Right. Yeah, if you're used to stuff like oh god, what is it? Dead Rising? What's the like super horror one where you go through like the nightmare scheme and you're constantly being chased, and it's like pressure jump scares or whatever, like evil, or no, The Evil Within. That's what I'm thinking of. The Evil Within, or like trying to think of some other really big horror games. I would say this one is a horror game, but I would say this is also a very tame horror game. You know, I think maybe the only thing that's hard would be the difficulty settings, where you can crank up how many hits it takes to kill a zombie, so it makes it easier overwhelmed. But that's not horror. Silent Hill, oh, that's a great one. So, you know, it's funny, man. I have only seen someone play Silent Hill 4, arguably one of the most like out there versions of Silent Hill. I watched him play it front to back, and I was like, oh wow, this is a cool Resident Evil clone. But I haven't seen like the first couple of Silent Hills. I haven't seen the newer ones that come out. Just all that jazz. But I wish I was better with horror to run through them, right? Like the Closing Shift, Iron Lung, having like what is it, like Happy's Burger Barn, all of these like really interesting indie RPG stuff, and they're so different and varied in like the way that they scare you. Maybe they're like anxious games where it's like breeding on your paranoia, where you don't know what's there. Maybe something like I don't remember, if you could help me, the game where you get into a car and you're just driving forever at night and you just have to pick people up, and the whole point is that you just feel like you're not at home, and it just takes forever for you to finish the missions. And you know, slowly there'll be people that just kind of walk in the road, or there'll be like bumps or something, and like, you know, say you've got to go to a gas station and you have to refill, but there's nobody there, and so you've got to like get the shit yourself. It's a newer game, right? It's not something that's a well-known series. It's a very much like an indie horror game that I saw somebody playing. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like that style of game. I guess it's not super important to like know specifically what it is, but those sort of things. Like say you're in a house alone and you lock the front door, or you're you're watching TV, or you're upstairs doing homework and there's like sounds that you hear, and you know, obviously the game requires you to go check it out because the sounds won't stop until you do, and you go look and there's nothing there. But maybe like the cabinet's open, or say the front door is wide open and it's starting to get dark out. Say the curtains are a little shifted, or maybe somebody turned the TV on, or just shit like that sort of like very very slow burn horror is something that people can be addicted to, and ultimately it's leading up to a jump scare of some kind, which I think is why I can't handle horror too much. I just feel like I would get so freaked out that I would struggle to like sleep, or I would not feel safe just being in my own room. Like I'm a firm believer of being able to push myself to enjoy content, but then I understand that there's sort of a diminishing return, right? Like for an indie game that involves you being like that, like I don't remember what it was called, but it was like right around like the same style of like closing shift. Like if you do that and you play the whole game and you finish it, and say there's like a big reveal at the end that you just get like quickly jump scared by the guy that's been doing this to you, or you have to like you instantly die from some other jump scare and you have to restart. Like, what did I get out of that, right? It's an all lead up game, and some people love that, right? Like that formula is great. Like some games play where the cutscene is that you die, the punchline at the end, the cliffhanger is that you don't know what happened and it's quickly stopped. That's fine, right? Like that's perfectly legitimate from a cinematic perspective. I don't know that I would get enjoyment from that because I would just be freaked out the whole time waiting for like a reprieve or for it to slow down. So, you know, I don't know that I would play Metro again because it's not like an amazing series or anything, but I would like to play it again for the atmosphere and like the story, you know, like having the people you talk to, the lore build, and understanding more about the world that they've created. Like some of these indie games don't have good like overarching sort of plans, and that's not awful, but you know, I would say I pick and choose my horror content very closely. And I think this game sort of checks all my boxes of you don't need to be good at shooting. You don't need to necessarily have to like crank out and kill everything. If you want to, you can. And it's not like there's a lot of jump scares, right? Like there's maybe a couple as they introduce enemies and stuff, which is fine. And I've grown to like expect when it's coming up, and I like hype myself up and get it over with. But like there's a bunch of these aspects of the game where the ambience is just incredible. There's such a really raw, like, you feel for these people and you understand their concerns because it's a very relatable feeling of poverty, of being hungry, of being scared when, you know, basic problems will arise. Just having those anxiety moments are what make a really good horror game for me, because I don't like the traditional, you know, spooky. I don't like something chasing me. I don't like a physical enemy that you can't kill, or something that's creeping that you can't see, or stuff like that. I like the idea of like, you know, like psychological, I guess I would say. I would prefer psychological over horror. And I think Dying Light's a good combo of that. Because at nighttime, you better believe it's horror, right? Like they very easily do just like, you have to run away, you have to take care of this, and you have to be quiet. If you don't be quiet, they will find you. In the daytime is very forgiving though, and you just find out people, and it's a great time. And with it being what, like an hour in, I think we'll get into the actual game itself. This game, oh, look at that. The music just stopped right as I said that. That's perfect. It's funny. I feel like I should just start every stream in just chatting, because I always end up talking about something for a while and then I play the game. Because, you know, even though I'm used to this game, I think I I think I need to relax in between portions. I need to take a minute to pause and just chat about stuff and like give myself time to like pat it out, because you know some parts of this game are real simple. I can just crank it out, all that jazz. But sometimes it's scary as fuck. I hope you have a really good night, Sentai. I was talking to you this morning a little bit, and I caught your stream, and oh, excuse me. And I know that you're up pretty early, so I hope you sleep well, and I hope you get up and make some breakfast and have all that stuff. But have a good Friday, man. If I don't talk to you. Armand has replaced the phenyl nitrate with a compound that induces sleep. I think Rise's boys are in for some unexpected snoozing. So, for those of you who aren't aware, phenyl nitrate is an amphetamine that is used for it's basically meth, right? And they've got this it's called stuff, it's a thing called slam. You just like red phosphorus, phenyl nitrate, all these like sort of amphetamine components, and it keeps these guys up for 4 days straight, and they're like roided out of their mind, and they are super super aggressive. Now, phenyl nitrate is extremely hard to come by because it is a hospital grade sanitizer and anesthetic. So, because there's nothing coming into the island, there was a car that didn't have any left. This was the last carrier in that was supposed to have it. Now that there's no more slam, we're just giving these people some sleeping pills, and now they're gonna probably sleep for a week because they've been fucking hopped up on steroids and all that. Yeah, no worries, Junie. I don't know how long you went, but I know when I stop streaming is when I'm hitting that wall and I need to sleep. So I appreciate everybody for just hanging out with the raid, but I always understand if you need to eat, if you need to go drink something, just not be talking and go lay down or any of that jazz. But I will be here if you're wanting to just have some background noise, right? So you guys take care. But I hope you have a good night as well. I hope you sleep well and wake up rested and ready for tomorrow.
I copy. What's wrong?
Someone's turned on the 18th floor. We're doing our best to contain the situation, but I can't sugarcoat this, Crane. We need Anderson right fucking now.
Rise has promised me 2 crates, Brecken. 2 crates. I'm doing this shit as fast as I can, I swear.
God, just hurry, please.
Yeah, so this is an interesting, like, there are parts of this game that, what do you want? You're ugly looking.
Point to the airdrops. Rise takes everything away.
Hey, Crane. It's good to see you. What happened here, it's so very sad. Sorry, man. No access to the upper floors.
Why?
Someone infected went full-blown. The 18th floor is a slaughterhouse now. No one's allowed in.
Yeah, so obviously, for those of you who aren't super familiar with the game, you know, I always feel the need to just a little bit here and there, sort of just, what do you call it? Kind of run through what it is, but it's an advanced form of rabies from what I understand, and it will affect you to the point where eventually, if you're exposed to it long enough, you become sort of comatose and all these other things. And the interesting about it is the fact that you have to maintain a sort of amount of suppressant called antizin. It's not that it's a cure, and by no means is it actually helpful, but to avoid you from getting seizures and stuff, you'll need to take this, and then if you go a couple weeks without it, you'll turn to that classic zombie. And it kind of reminds me of like the poison system that they had with the candy in Dead Man Wonderland, where you know your time is your currency, and you're fighting against the time. So as more sort of antagonism arises, the more concern you have for those materials, and the more that you're willing to, you know, do whatever you need to get it, right? That may be sort of like you're resorting to violence, or you know, doing favors for people who don't like it. And you know, Rise is a warlord here who takes advantage of that and is very familiar with the fact that you need to talk to these people about certain issues. And I like that they have that, but I think there are ways that this can be done better. For example, the fact that it's like I don't remember what the term is, but like the fact that my character's actions don't really make any sort of impact on the story, right? The story and my gameplay is sort of different. I believe it's like a Lundvaft antonym or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but just the premise that there's a fixed story and then you do morally gray things, or you know, you're just like killing people in the street, but the story is telling me that I'm like supposed to be helping these people and I'm doing my best to be the main arbiter or whatever. But what I would say, it's not that bad. There are aspects of this game that, you know, you definitely are rooting for or against these people. But one of the first things that the game kind of does is it shows you that you need to what do you call it? You need to get antizin, and you need to, oh Jesus Christ, here we go. What do you got? Any runners coming? This always happens. There's always one up here. There they are. Hey, buddy. But yeah, so there was a night mission that I had to do, right? That I needed to go and get the suppressant for some people, right? Their boys were a really long time without um any sort of cure, and then I had to go get it. And the only time that the airdrops, it's like a plane airdrop, came and got it was at like sundown. And obviously, there's the issue of you need to go before sundown and get there immediately to get to the airdrop before the bad guys come out that are extremely difficult to deal with. And from there, I had to contact the people that brought me here, the GRE, the people who are, overseeing the drops of these supply crates and everything. And they're like, okay, burn it all. We don't want you to have any spare antizin at all that was dropped down. We need to stress this fella Rice, who is a warlord, and they are using their guys who are hopped up on meth essentially and up all these days. They're strong as hell, and they're bullies who have taken every and all aspect of this suppressant, and they're gouging the prices. They're making people who are already like poor as fuck pay all these extra fees and money to get even just a single amount of cure. And it's very like anti-pharma, kind of like what do you call it, like allegories to the issues of corruption and gang mentality, mafia behavior, all that jazz. But it's really interesting that you, like, one of the first missions you do, right? Because I take forever to be messing with stuff and going and what do you call it, like trying to do the story last. I want to explore everything, get comfortable with the zones, understand the zombies, and I actually kind of like that I took that route unintentionally, because after the first couple of main missions, they start to introduce more enemies, and they make it really hard very quickly. Right, like the first mission that you have to do is like, hey, it's getting darker, you gotta go help these people, and the power blew in some areas, so we want you to go and turn on the power, because obviously, as people who need stuff to work in the dark, like UV lights to protect us from the enemies that are immune to the sun, we need that. So there's a lot of missions like that that leverage the use of light and power as a requirement. And once that happened, once I survived the night, so to speak, they instantly got these like more difficult enemies, as you saw, the ones that could climb up here. Like, I wouldn't say these are like that. These enemies are just simple, like spawn up here and are shuffling around doing nothing. I think they just call them biters because they're slow. But the runners were that one that like found me, right? Like when I made noise, they got up in my face. And so like this guy right here, this is a different kind of enemy. So like down there is obviously a biter, and this one has like the hazmat group of people. They have done cleanup crews in the beginning of the pandemic, so to speak, and they wanted to go in and before they knew that they were going to be infected with the rabies, they wanted to go and see what the situation was. And once these people came in, they sort of instantly cordoned the island off. They cut everything out. And now these guys eventually died or succumbed to this because they were breathing the air that was infected. At some point, you can't expect to just not breathe the air. It just doesn't work, right? Like a gas mask filter doesn't work. I mean, I don't need to tell anybody in COVID that bacteria and viruses and all that just get everywhere. Like there's just no way to keep a clean room of it, just by nature of how it sticks on material and all that jazz. So now you have these enemy zombies who are in these really, really thick, they called it like category 4 protective insulated hazmat suit stuff for like radiation more than anything, not necessarily like a viral infection, but they're really hard to beat. And their thing on their back is it's an oxygen tank, or if I understand, it's like a poison tank at this point, something like that. But if you hit it, if anyone's played the Division, the flamers, if you shoot their their fuel pack, obviously they explode. But the problem in this game is that when that happens, it makes a big fucking noise. So you've got to worry about all the other aspects of like, these runners are going to find me. They're going to instantly know where I'm at because I'm fighting this giant thing that's yelling, blah, 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 blah. But it's good. The only thing that I don't like about the hazmat guys here is that the sound that they do is still the same stock sound of regular zombies. They're like, ah, right, like classic zombie, but they've put it through a filter because obviously they have the helmet on, and it sounds like they're doing the growling into a tin can, but the way that the echo works and how like sharp it is that it cuts in and out, it literally sounds like something's having like grief diarrhea, and they're just making like all kinds of sounds that you would in a public restroom. And I can't unhear it, but I'll give you guys a quick listen. Maybe now that he's like aggro, he'll hear it, right? You hear it? It's so gross.
Hey, I'm Richie Vanderkamp. Obviously, I'm not from this part of town. I'm sure you can tell, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not making any judgments here. I own a PR firm, so believe me, I don't make those kind of mistakes. Best face forward. That's my company. We were handling all the PR for the Haran games. TV spots, billboards, radio. I'm telling you, we sold this thing big. Solid slots in all the major markets, plus 3-hour blocks on ESPN5. Primo, right? I told the premiere.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. So you know what's really funny? I had to sneeze like 10 times while the guy was talking. So I would like the record state that I was not muted for a very long time. It was a tactical mute, but I wasn't talking before, and then you came in and ruined it. So, let's just take a moment here. I'm just gonna fucking I would pretend I wasn't talking for 10 minutes, and we'll put on some music, and I'll just sit here, and we'll do what I like to call the prattle of shame. Right now that I have been muted, I'm gonna say everything that I said again, and I'm gonna pretend like this is new. So, first, I'm really glad that I was fucking doing something while I was talking and not just sitting here, right? But you know what the most awkward thing about everything that happens was regarding the mute and that? So I haven't had like a mute problem in a very long time because I usually just do a quick mute, unmute, and I can see my mic. When I first started, my like NVIDIA broadcast or like my voice meter or something was broken, but like mic was being detected, but it wasn't picking up anywhere. So I had to like restart my PC, which had crashed, and do all that other stuff. So I'm not embarrassed that I was muted because I was already muted, right? But yeah, so first and foremost, happy birthday, small buddy. Anybody who's not been over to his stream today, because he played Tony Hawk Underground for like 9 hours and was awesome, wish him a happy birthday. He's X+1 years old right now, and he was having a really fun time. He definitely seems like the kind of person who, for their birthday, they want to have a bowl of cereal after sleeping in slightly, play games, talk to a couple people, not really tell anybody that it's their birthday, and then in a couple days say, yeah, I had a really fun birthday, thanks for hanging out, and then everybody's like, what the fuck? You could have said something, we would have done something. Well, it's like, no, I don't want you to come to my house and touch all my stuff like that. I just want to hang out. But it was good. It was a lot of fun to sort of relive not my childhood, because I never got the opportunity to play Tony Hawk, but like going over to other people's houses and they had Tony Hawk was fucking primo. You know what I mean? Like being able to grind out and play that, or like if anyone remembers the Godzilla beat 'em up games where you just fucking fight against another thing. I think it was like on GameCube or something, but just like cranking out just combos and chaining stuff and just doing nothing in a circle for hours is so fun with some crazy music. And like it was the most fun of just watching somebody play, because at the end of the day, right, like there's really not a lot to Tony Hawk. The most that you do is the fucking character creator, and then they take you through a couple of courses, but like they're really well done. So I don't know, it's really, really good to watch a simple game perform amazingly, and like the circumstances that they put it through are a really simple formula, and it's so good. But yeah, let's see what we've got for the clip for Mr. Small. I'm using this as an opportunity to get used to my new computer, because it is fucking, I'm struggling to use this thing. It's a 60%. All the special moves too. Sheesh. Yeah, dude, the specials fuck.
He really gave it to me, alright.
I really gave it to him, all right.
What the fuck is
Man
happening?
fell so hard. He almost he turned into a fucking phantom.
See you around, that boy.
That was uncalled for. That was
I
fucked up, dude.
I was just gonna
That was
say,
rude. What the
you didn't.
fuck?
That's a bit of a drive-by.
Why?
I was lit as soon as like, see you later, fat boy. I was like, all right, bit of a drive-by, uncalled for. Didn't need to do that. Like you could have just said ugly. You could have said bald, right? Tacky and your feet stink. Fat's a weird one, right? That's a weird dig. That's God Hand. I have got to play that game, because if it gets your golden seal, it is like, it's got to be an amazing game, right? Like, because I was just thinking about this today. Like, one of the first few friends that I made on the internet that I didn't know personally and had already sort of like talked to before streaming was, I would say, probably Emma, because I hit her up randomly on Wither's side of the house, and because she had gotten affiliate, I was like, hey, congrats, I love your character, I love anything Big Nose that's really funny, and I hope you do well. And I was like hanging out and watching more of her streams, and then I found, Borgie, Small, Cookies, Sill, all those guys pretty much through Emma, and like pretty quickly I was able to see Small playing some games so differently than I've ever like played a game. The way he talks about them is so different. Like anything that I've like had, like, oh, I like this game, I can't really put my finger on it why, but I really like this game, and he'll tell you about it. Like, you were telling me about like the dynamic of today with like the disconnect between how the characters play versus the game. Like the way that you approach them are very much like I've seen like how people like how music majors talk about songs and stuff. Like it's really interesting. And then you think about those people, they're like, video games are stupid, they're a waste of time, they're not really good. And it's like, man, there are people who are incredible at making, playing, and like discussing games that it's asinine to think that like be quiet, boomer, you know what I mean? Like there's so much for them. I want to design a game one day. As much as like that's always been the dream as a kid, I definitely like go through the problems of like game testing, programming, like all those issues and the things that you run into of like, oh, I don't know that I'd be able to play a good game. And I think about it, and I think you of all people would be able to have the best like insight to make one that wasn't shitty. I think anybody is pretty much able to like use Blender or like engines like that, but what the fuck am I using this one for? Good lord, no wonder it was like one tapping everybody. But it's really interesting to see like the mindset that some people go. Like, I'm sure I could make a game in any regard that anybody else can. Like, you get a little Java, little C#, something, boom, right? Like, you can make an asset game like that. But to make one that like changes perspectives of how you know a game, or one that is like groundbreaking, or even just like well done and consistently good. Like the expectations that we hold stuff to ourselves, there's no way that I would be able to, in good conscience, make one that's that good, right? But it's, I think playing too many video games is one of the best problems that you could have. Like just the idea that like you get so much out of that sometimes. Like if you play them and you know what to look for, and you have just like a little moment of reflection with that stuff, it can be the most rewarding thing ever. Especially when you're like, I mean, just like call a spade, right? Like if it's fun as hell to play that, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Like I'm not interested in reading a book all the time, but I will always pick up a game. I'm always like looking for something to watch or play, and usually I don't have the energy to watch something, so I'll just play something instead. What am I doing here? Come on. But yeah, man, I hope you get something to eat. I don't know, I kind of left in the middle there to eat myself, so I don't know if you went and got food ordered or if you need to go lay down or whatnot, but obviously it's funny because I know how long you streamed, but I also know how late you stay up, so you're probably going to be up for the next like 5 hours doing nothing. But obviously get some sustenance, all that in there, and we'll I think of the fucking Liam Neeson thing is like, I'll come to your house and that'll be the end of it, but if you disregard my rules, I will find you and I will kill you, right? Like, why in God's name do they stagger and also hit me in the same go? You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't get it. Alright, let's see if we can get this guy real quick. I hear someone. Unless that's just flies. Oh, fuck! I knew it. My internet cut out near the end of stream, so I started fucking mega dying. Good thing I ended when I did. Oh, I see. So, like, Raid was the last, like, Custard's last stand before you fucking, like, you go robot. I didn't hear anything after the last 2 comments I typed, though. I think that's okay. I think the way that I talk and the way that I, like, discuss stuff, nobody really needs to respond, because I will finish my own thoughts, don't you worry. But I do hope that internet comes back for you, because that is stupid. Where's that airdrop at, anyway? Was very fortunate that I ended when I did. It's okay. Oh yeah, I mean, like, the fact that you went for like 9 hours, sometimes do you ever get that gut feeling where you're like, now's good. Now is the time where it becomes like fucking like what is it, like sunken costs, where it's like if I go a little bit longer, I'm gonna get tired, it's gonna be shitty, and it won't be as good an ending, right? Like end it like Seinfeld, not like fucking Firefly. But I'm glad. I was just saying, I hope you get something to eat. I hope you relax, you chill out a little bit. I know you're usually up for a couple more hours, but I hope you're doing your daily task checklists, right? And we're gonna just hang out and we're gonna vibe. Because I don't know what else to do. I'm never one to, like, I don't plan streams, really. I don't really plan much of anything that I do. I just kind of talk. No? Okay. I'm going to need somebody to clip that. In fact, I'll clip that myself, because that is the most... Hang on. Where is this here? Is it like 100 points? I can't remember. It's up high, I think. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I saw the airdrop because we just heard it land. I get up the hill and I look at it and I see 2 closed red containers. That means that it's untouched, unclaimed by Rise's boys. And I turn to the left, I walk down the hill, I pop back up, and they're fucking there with the open container. Now, I'd like to go see this clip real quick, because if I'm crazy and they just... Maybe I didn't see it, that's fine, but if they just instantly, like, snapped spawned there, like, I don't know. Right There! Right as I was sitting down. He moves! What, you don't see it? This little rat is guilty! Bernie, don't Bernie me! Look at his face, he knows he did it! Okay, well, how do you know that Jack was the one who put the tack on your shirt? I don't know how he did it, but when I sat down, there was an attack, and then he moves, and there's a tack. Coincidence? I think not. Alright, clips. Or I love The Incredibles so fucking much. You go get some food. Enjoy. I'll be here. Seconds later. Okay, now we're good. Now that I'm done complaining, I have all that clip stuff out of the way. I'm not crazy, and the Academy lies to you. And I just opened Photoshop. Okay, give me a second, because that's gonna brick my PC. I gotta. We'll throw in some music while I panic. Alright, where are you? No! It does the thing where it opens up the fucking loading screen, and I'm like, oh god. Alright. Okay, nobody panic, we're good, we're okay. And let's get cracking. Who wants to... I guess I should turn off the chill way of music, right? Whoop. There we go. Okay. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, if I can do this combat well, with items and everything with a new keyboard.
This doesn't concern.
That's for them to deal with. What's that sound? Does anyone feel like they hear a rising tone? And when I say rise, I don't mean the fucking boys. Oh! Yep, we definitely heard that. Alright, that's the sound of certain doom. The homies are coming out. They heard. They sense. They smell, right? Where's the last guy? Oh, Mr. Mans is way over here. Let me just climb this boy real quick. And we'll take a quick pause, huh? Okay. Let's get rid of some jazz, huh? We got... Well, I'm doing inventory management. I'll throw in some music. Alrighty, 0 repairs left. Do I have a primitive pick? Oh, I see. Well, I'm gonna delete this boy. We can get rid of Mr. Crowbar, get rid of the brass knife. Why in God's name I've got that, I'll never know. But the crude pick, I don't know that I'll hang on to. What else do I want to get rid of, right? Because like I want to bring... Bernie, you saw my son do this? Well, no. Well, then how do you know it was Dash? I hit a camera. Can we talk about how he really shouldn't be having a camera in his house like that, right? or his house, I guess the classroom. I guess it's not illegal, but I thought the rule with classes and stuff is that they have in-school cameras in the hallways for when teachers aren't able to be there, but they have the staff who are trusted, and they don't put cameras in the rooms because there are adults there watching people, right? So like the idea that he's got such an issue with Dash that he has a hidden camera, is waiting for the prank, and he has like this Mr. Crocker like conspiracy theory and a like doom plot against Dash is such a funny like subplot that they just threw away. The idea that he's like up at night thinking about it to the point that he buys surveillance equipment, hides it, and waits it like, and it just it's so funny to me. Like looking back, it is one of the funniest like 5 minutes of the show ever. Okay, so take the package back to Ryan. Where are we talking for the map for that? So this isn't that. I gotta find Mr. Haroon, find the missing patrol. We know that we want to do that pretty soon because I'd like to get that safe zone done, but I think I'll do that later in the day. Maybe I'll continue this mission with Haroon and figure out the, you know, the on the, where is it? Under the bridge, right? We had to go here and hang out. But taking the package back to Ryan is the phenol nitrate, and that's the sleeping pills, I think, that we would give Rice's men. So that'll, I'd be interested to try and do that before I talk to Rice's boys way back up here. But that involves the missing patrol, right? That's the big thing. Like, I've done all this stuff with Rice just to get a couple of things, and it's, I have a feeling he's going to be dicking me around for quite a while until I get my antizin. But as the story shows, you know, our boys in blue are infected on the 18th floor. They need the antizin immediately because they've been attacked by somebody who turned. So they're running out of time, right? We're running out of runners and daylight, and I need 2 cases from this man, and that's a lot. All right. Let's get out of here. I know I stopped the music to like fiddle with something, but now we're good. A couple boys. We're gonna take a right here. Okay. I like the idea that I'm running on the outside, like the weirdest spot. Alright, hang on. Take a left here, okay. Right, we've got to go talk to them down here. Can I just hop the gate? Not hop the zombie, hop the gate. Hello, sir. How are you? Hope everybody's having a great day. I don't have to bust any heads, do I? I remember before I had issues with that where I had to go around and like, hey, are you killing your people? Are you parading around as the gas mask man and giving them anxiety so that they'll pay the exorbitant fees of a warlord for protection that they didn't need unless you caused it like that? You know, like this whole thing from these people. Did I say Gex? Oh, geek. I see. Alright, now where is this side mission here? Ah! This is poisonous herbs. Assigned by Musa. Now, I don't remember who Musa is, but I believe he's the guy who turned into a werewolf. He said he's like a lycanthrope, and he needed wolfsbane and garlic, or no, it wasn't garlic, it was wolfsbane, lavender, and like one other thing to avoid turning into a werewolf anymore. Now, I don't know too much about wolfsbane, but I believe it's a poison. It's like literally a super poisonous material. Appreciate you, Sensei. How you doing, fellow? I actually need more water after this big sip, so I'm gonna put some music on again, and we're gonna see if we can maybe get something to eat too. I'll go run downstairs. Moose is the only reigning superfauna in North America. Well, I'll tell you what. The elephant is the only mammal with 4 forward-facing kneecaps. So what have you got to say about that? Now, what do you consider superfauna? Because in my mind, that would mean that the bear is not considered a superfauna. Like, is that when you're talking about like purely terrestrial stuff, like old creatures, right? Like animals back then, like dinosaur times, of very large lizards and mammals and shit. Like dragonflies used to be gigantic, but they're not anymore. Like the fact that crocodiles are oh Jesus. Sorry, that was just a lot to read all at once. Hey Freedom, how are you doing, fella? How's your Thursday going? I hope you've eaten something, because the only reason I ask that is because I'm going to take a second here to get some water myself. And I am going to maybe grab some chips. I don't know, but I should say I am curious to hear about the whole megafauna situation, because that would mean that crocodiles are also not considered superfauna, and that they were bigger during prehistoric times. I'm not 100% sure. We'll toss this guy on here, and we will be right back.
Not.
Who'll be nutting in the chat? Arr. It's going. I already ate and had a late night snack. How are y'all doing so far today? I am also considering this a late night snack because I already had dinner and it's 11:30, so I'm doing good. I am eating, and I now have a piece of untoasted white bread. I have some ice water and a half sleeve of Ritz crackers, so I think we'll be able to sustain the night. Small has considerably more food to eat right now, but he's earned it. He's the birthday boy. Anybody who doesn't know, wish my boy here a happy birthday. He doesn't have cake, though. He just has video games and internet people. Alright, let me sit down. Let me get reacquainted here. It's 11:30 okay right now here too. Lol. You do have cake. Well, that's awkward because I was told there wasn't cake. Is this also God Hand? No. This is Persona music, right? There was indeed cake. Well, damn, what kind? Actually, wait, no, this isn't. Oh, this is Devil May Cry. No, I'm stupid. I'm mixing up iconic.
The way it goes from like shooting his feet to like directly like
Holy shit, someone just, yeah, right? Fucking. So I take that back. It's not that I haven't played Devil May Cry. I've played maybe an hour of the first one. If help me out here, is that the one where you're in the castle and you have to like grapple really weirdly up there, and there's like the mannequin things up around the corner, and you have to fight like the lion thing in the courtyard? First one is the castle. Okay. The music is incredible. For just an hour of the game, I played an amazing amount. Like, I would say, while I would like to play more Devil May Cry, just like the really tight amount, it is so good. The combat system, how it like kind of negates you to cheese to get extra amounts of hits. Like, it's not like Tony Hawk combos where you sticker slap and get 3 million points and want to like just jump off a cliff by having to get like the max speed stuff. Like, the first one is really interesting that you need variety in fighting, and like they make you use all your new power-ups as you go as well. It's really cool that you have to leverage that stuff and remember it. So I feel like if you set it down for a while, you kind of have to like go back and play. Third one's the best one. Devil May Cry 3 is a masterpiece. Now, remind me, that wasn't Devil May Cry. That was Devil May Cry 4, right? Because I don't know the lore or the storyline with those at all, but I am extremely interested in playing them, in the same regard that I'd like to play Silent Hill. I would want to play more Resident Evil, right? Like, I would want to play the first one and then maybe the fourth one. I don't know that I would ever want to play the sixth one, but it would be really funny for me to have my first Resident Evil game be the sixth one, and then go back and play like the first one and be like, oh my god, the sixth one is horrendous, right? Like, I like the idea of starting on the worst game, you know? It's muscle memory. Okay, I can see that. I think like I think with Devil May Cry specifically, maybe because I don't know the systems that well, but I have a feeling that there's not really a lot that you have to remember. Just maybe the fact that you have a gun, you have like some sort of magic thing, and then there are combos that you can do with that stuff. Whereas it's not like puzzles where you need to learn or do very specific moves, right? It's not like Legend of Zelda or like I don't even think I could even call like Sekiro one of those, because it's not, right? You don't get more powers that you need to solve a puzzle, you just get them to like better fight bosses, I guess. Combat's really dense, but it's a lot of repetitive motions and inputs. I can see that. I can see how button mashing in that game can kind of work for you. It's really funny to me though. I think what I'm saying is when I have trouble with, let me just fucking eat this cracker first so I don't just cheek it the whole time like a chipmunk. Hang on. Okay, there we go. I think the only game that I've really had trouble with, like, you set it down for a while and have to pick it back up, is like Tarkov. It's a game that there's a lot of like combination buttons to do stuff, or like say, oh, help me out. What's the game where it's a VR game and you have to like use every part of the pistol, and you have to like load the thing, cock the hammer, and like the whole game is, the point is that you have to do the sequence correctly and you have to not get shot by all the drones and stuff. Or like you have to go through and pick up memories, and it's like really trigger warning. It was made in Game Jam over a weekend, and my buddy is like obsessed with it. Receiver is exactly what I'm thinking of. That kind of game. I think that's a game that like if you play like the 5th level right off the bat, you're gonna like suck farts for like 10 minutes because you're like, oh Jesus, how do I remember how to do that? I have heard amazing things about both those games, and as someone who's like really not a fan of horror and also kind of sucks at like VR stuff because I've never really used that stuff, I would love to play through those and just get a vibe for it. I have 100% achievements in Receiver 2. Now that's difficult to attain from what I gather. I think that's a hard game to 100% just because like some of the shit you have to do is rough, like with all the balloons and shit too, or like finding everything. But that's a great series because I watched my buddy basically play through the whole first game, but he got to like the last couple levels where it was like really like meat grinder, you know, where you had to try every single version, kind of like what's the New York City driving movie where they've got chains and they beat up people's cars and they do like courier missions, and the guy had like drugs that he peddled. Was it Hot Pursuit? Trying to remember, because it was like the guy what he would do is he'd ride the bike and he had like a Matrix moment where he would see like, okay, if I go left I get hit by this car, if I go right I'm gonna collide into an oncoming traffic thing, if I go forward, if I jump it and slide here I can make it in just in time. So he would like, you know, after contemplating every possible move, he would go the right way all the time. And I feel like that's kind of how it's like a shitty old like a Jackie Chan type movie, right? Like it's not good. It was one of those like before Oscar bait was a thing. It was like a movie that you would crank out and it was like only on TV or it was only direct to DVD. But yeah, you just like the idea of having to do all that stuff is really weird. Let me just see like New York City drug bike movie. Premium Rush. That's the name of the movie. So Premium Rush it came out in 2012 and it's not Brad Pitt or fucking Jake Gyllenhaal. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's a bike messenger who has to dodge speeding cars. He has to evade these crazy cab drivers in New York City, and he goes by a bunch of like really shitty pedestrians and stuff on his pedal bike. He's got like a 12 speed that's fast as fuck. And basically he has one of these jobs where he has to... Oh wait, you know what? It's not a 12 speed. The bike that he uses is super dangerous because it's a lightweight single gear bike with no brakes. He has to keep pedaling. If he wants to stop, he has to do like a rollerblade, like side skate thing, and then he can stop. He has to stop like ice skates, basically. That's what allows him to go so fast, because like there's no gears to clog up, right? Like he'll take like a chain and fucking hit somebody's bike, and it like gets locked up in the thing. But the way that his shit works, it doesn't. He's got like a tank tread on there, and you can't break it. What he knows one day he's gonna wake up. They call it like wake up one day as a smear on the pavement, but basically he has to do a run for like he's doing like a life or death chase through all of Manhattan. He's got to like run a specific material or package to the other side in like an hour. He has to go and use all his training of up to this point of dodging traffic, everything else, while being hunted by, it's literally like the Chinese mafia are after him, and it's so out there. I never even finished the movie. I don't even know if it's good, but I just remember the idea of like it's literally a video game plot. Do you ever have those old DVDs where they had like the extras, like Flushed Away and Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix were both examples of this. If you go into the options menu, there was a game that you could play where you had to drive down a regular path of something, and it says if you're going to go left, right, or front, and you have to answer questions, and answering questions allows you to navigate the correct way, and if you do it the wrong way, you get hit. Quite literally, that idea and that simple mechanic is how Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character maneuvers through the city. He like in a moment of like a fucking, like a 5-way intersection that's got left and right traffic, and he's going downhill with no brakes. He has like a fucking literally like you hit the fix it button, or like you have like stims in Fallout and you have like 10 minutes of bullet time. He telegraphs all of his moves, predicts what will happen, and sees like the car's coming, and he knows he's going to get hit here, and here, and these are 2 spots that he could potentially do. I think like the climax of the movie is that he misses something, or he realizes that none of the paths actually result in a positive progression. He doesn't actually make it through one of them, so he gets hit by a fucking car. He like front flips forward 3 times and he like stops, right? He doesn't get hurt, deathly ill or anything, but he crashes his bike and he's just laying on the pavement, and he has to finish the delivery in like 10 minutes, and he's got like 5 miles, right? Like he was so close, he was right there, but then like the tire pops, right? Very fucking like cliche ending of just in time. I was right. It was taken away from me. You know, I was at the finish line. It was smooth sailing. My love interest was rooting for me. My best friend has been kidnapped, and I was just about to get him back. But like every fucking '90s movie. The more I think about this movie, and the less I remember about it, the more it sounds like an awful fucking movie. But it is funny to think about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, an amazing actor who's been in like an okay movie and brought that up from like a 3 to like a 6 for me. And I don't know why. It was a memorable movie, but I don't know that I've ever watched it more than once, right? But I don't know. The only thing I was thinking of was the fact that Receiver is a meat grinder in that regard. So very similarly to the first Half-Life, there are some parts of the game that are very much trial and error, and you've got to like figure out the best way to do it, which I like. But I can understand in some of the more difficult puzzles for that repetition and just constantly dying. I can see that be real hard, you know, like super fucking difficult to deal with. Like you start, it's a skill issue, you know, you're doing the same thing wrong 100 times. You're like, how the fuck do I get through here? Because it's kind of like with Portal 2 as well, you know? BPFD, buddy. I appreciate the follow. Let me know how you want me to say your name. I'm always bad with initials and stuff, but I hope you're vibing. I hope you enjoy me just talking about nothing on a fucking blank screen. I always say that I'm going to be playing a game, but then I end up doing a just chatting for 2 hours. Receiver 2 isn't as hard. It's a game that is very harshly punishing neglect, though. Okay, so if you're rigorous in the mechanics and you do everything to the letter that they tell you to, you'll pretty easily get through the game. If you show neglect at all while playing Receiver 2 or Rush, you're gonna die. Okay, I think that's fair. I like that. I like that the first one kind of like forces you to go fast a little bit, because it's maybe not Rush, but like the idea of a game jam where like you need to keep moving and they don't really have time for ambience. They just kind of wanted the game to be finished. I like it a lot. Okay, interesting. Now the killbot I like a lot. I like that you can run out of ammo as a killbot. I like that you can get pointed, and a lot of stuff is really realistic. I like that you can point a killbot and shoot it at other killbots and all that jazz. Every death in that game feels like a genuine mistake you should have seen coming. It's good. I think there's a lot of games out there, like, I mean, especially like today, right? Tony Hawk Underground 2. There was a lot of times where you tried to do the wall plant and it's just not working. Or like, you know, sometimes when you're doing crowd control games, like with Super Mario Sunshine or Pikmin or fucking Mario 64, sometimes the inputs just don't work. Or you're playing a fighting game and you fuck up a combo, or you're playing Guitar Hero and you like miss it. Like, all of those games, there's a certain level of I hit it, there's a delay, and it didn't work properly. With Receiver 2, there's no exception to the fact that what you did was wrong. It's very black and white. You know what should be done and what should not be done. Sure, there are ways to cheese it. You can kind of like be a little funky and like mess with the boundaries. You can use the physics engines to kind of, you know, do a little Skyrim, but you know when you fucked up. Alright, the music end? Yeah, I did. Okay. Between songs right now, we're gonna... I paused you, boy. It's great. I love that. Alright. I thought about that mission for a really, really long time. I didn't know if Musa was gonna want his poisonous herbs, right? Nah, let's get in here. I don't even know what these are, but we're just gonna, we're gonna check them real quick. Find Haroon. Midnight Bride herbs by night. Everyone knows you'll catch more fish with flies than sugar, but if you want more fish, you'll need more bait. And the best bait is a weed called Midnight Bride. Fish go bonkers for it, and we call it Midnight Bride because it glows in the dark, just like a bride does. At least that's what I've heard. Never been married myself for some reason, but I digress. This stuff grows in the dark. Well, you'll need to go there at night to spot it. I'll pay well for 5 samples. Equally as interesting to me as Doom Eternal is for its gameplay. Oh, for gunplay. Okay, Doom Eternal is an interesting one. What do you feel about Doom Eternal versus Doom 2016? Because I feel like a lot of people enjoyed Doom 2016 better, but there's more mechanics in, the first one. Once you know how to really operate your gun without checking your keybinds every 2 seconds, it feels incredibly satisfying to everything, just as you expect it to do. Because you've got like, what do you call it? You have, I lost my train of thought here. There's no changes. There's no like different things that you have to deal with, right? Like once you know it, and I think it's kind of the same way with Tarkov, because I've had where like I'm like really like relearning how to do something, and I'm fucking like struggling to get something knocked out, but once I know how to like check all my weapons, do all the inspections stuff, excuse me, I feel like I can just run up through and play the game like nothing. You just very easily, and I'll take that sip for you. It's a very straightforward game. Oh, he gone. My man whole dipped.
He's not here.
Oh, well, you'd better go find him.
Is that it? Really? That's the only dialogue you have for me? Huh. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so what happened was, how I've got my mouse set up, it's kind of, it was kind of taut because it falls on the back of my desk, so I had to grab some with the mouse length, kind of give it some slack, and then I had to sort of tether it to the corner of my desk, so I've got some more floaty room on my mouse instead of it, like, dragging. So now I'm good. The way the guns work, in a way, mirrors the gameplay in general. Okay. So you're saying, like, the way that you can move and interact with stuff is very fluid and very, like, in tune with how you have to shoot and how you need to, like... Because I played a bit of 2016. I wasn't...
I saw Haroon earlier. He was telling Gerso that we should surround the village with tiger traps. I don't think that's a good idea.
Like, the idea that you have a lot of, like, parkour and platforming and stuff to do, and the fact that the guns work really well with you, like, jumping around like a crazy person... I like that a lot. I like how fluid it is. Alright, let me sit up. I'm like fucking slouching my chair. I'm playing a casual stance with a very stressful game, and I think it's really funny. Because I have to pay attention. Wait, hang on. Find Haroon. What? I have to still find Haroon? What's going on here? I don't know how to explain it without sounding pretentious. No, you're good. I mean, like, you're allowed to do whatever you want, right? Like, I don't think any better or less of you because you're like, the game is just good, right? Like, I don't give a shit. Alright, that 7TV thing is getting a little annoying. I'm gonna crank up the time just a hair, right? But we're learning. We're getting there. Yeah, I don't know. I think I think Doom Eternal is different enough from Doom 2016 that you can kind of classify them separately, but at the same time, you do have to recognize that Doom Eternal by nature is designed to be an upgrade to what you're used
Looking
to.
for Haroon?
I have to talk to these people all again.
Need to find Haroon.
Yeah, I know we have to find her, and I gotta talk to all three of you. We already did this, so I'm just gonna run by.
Where can I find Haroon?
Yeah.
Most likely under the bridge. That's where most trolls reside, eating fish heads, perhaps. That's cold-hearted. But yeah, as the extension says, everybody who doesn't have it, who's a streamer, who's a watcher, you can all benefit from Twitch TV emotes, as well as BTTV and FrankerFaceTV. That's a pretty standard one that most everybody has. The one that a lot of people have not heard of is 7TV. 7TV is amazing because it does all the same things that FrankerFace does, but it does it much cheaper and much more. The interface is really easy. Any emote that you add to your channel, you can change the name of it, which is called the alias on it. So I can just have the word all lowercase sniff as an emote that clarifies, or bonk, or SMH, or any of those other things, right? Like I can do whatever I desire, and it's amazing. And the really, really cool thing about the game is not so much the interface, but the best part is the number of emotes you get out of the box. With a free account, nothing, just to connect your Twitch, you get 250 emotes just by yourself. Now, if you'd like more, I believe you have the ability to pay for it, but I've never really seen the need to. Like, the way a gun works very logically and predictably is the way the game itself plays too. Okay, I can see that. I mean, like, I think one of those things that it's like it's a visual learning. You have to. My internet's going sicko mode on me. That sucks. You're good though. I mean, like I said, you don't ever have to really listen to me, but I appreciate it, right? I feel bad, but as with most times where the streamer's internet okay and it's some guy in chat who's like, hey, is my video busted? Hey, why can't I hear anything? I'm glad it's not the person streaming, because when you were live and it's like 9 hours in, I get always monka ass when people say they start having internet issues, you know?
Thank you for coming to our aid.
Get going. Oh, goodness gracious me, oh my, that's a spicy pizza pie. Are you good, boss? My boy. Please just go home. Oh, you're not going home. You're going downtown. Alright, well, we can boogie.
Stay off me, you piece of shit! Stay off me, you piece of shit!
There we go. Stomp his fucking head flat. Bailiff, smack his pee-pee. Good. We got another homie. Home. E. Perfect. Now let's go back to the shitty pick. And we'll be right as rain. Hey, look. Hi, buddy. Whoop. Goodbye, buddy. Alright, now let's talk to Mr. Haroon. Haroon is... Ooh, fuck. I went real far. Did I hit the fucking tree with that? That's pretty funny. Oh, not the wheelchair, bro. That sucks. The mobility scooter lady is down. That's funny that they have that specifically in there as like a whole thing. Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen just like dead bodies that have no meaning whatsoever. But now they're like, they got a little bit of nuance to their story. It's pretty cool. Let's hope it was worth the 2 look picks. Oh, actually, you know, I was being kind of snarky about it, but though I would say those are very worth it. More boys. I gotta go left past this. Let me just follow the river, kind of. Now, is this a runner? I don't believe it is. He's a runner, shoots a track star. There's a boy coming. I realize I'm almost dead. I didn't even see. My goodness. Probably take care of that, huh? Well, there's your problem. You had no health. No bitches. Okay, I don't remember. That's the prison. We go to school if we take that boat. Now, what else are we looking to do here? Besides die a slow, painful death. I'm realizing I was just, before even that, like, common event came up, I was just going the wrong way. That's pretty funny. Let's get some skill points, eh? What I mean, though, is the way you methodically clear rooms and minimize risk to expose to danger in the game is complementary to the way you handle your guns, making sure to operate and load everything properly, keeping your gun loaded and ready for when you need it takes diligence. Sorry, it took me so long to type that. My internet is cut out like 5 times. No, you're good. I think that's a very succinct way of putting it, and I know what you mean now. So I thought we were still talking about Doom a little bit, so I know what you mean though now. Gain power points faster for 10 seconds after killing an enemy. The more kills, the bigger the boost. Okay, well, see, now I'm interested. The idea that there's like power points, it's like a combo, kind of. I don't know what that. I like the idea of a stomp, like put enemies on the ground and you can just stomp on them. I like to see you fucking parkour up here, fellow. While you're climbing up like this. Yo. That's awesome. Alright, hang on. I gotta reposition here because I'm not comfortable and I feel like I gotta be a little bit more comfy if I'm gonna be playing this game, right? Like, give me just 1 second. I feel like there's no good sitting position. Does anyone else do the thing where they sort of put their their leg up and they kind of like tuck their foot into their crotch or like you know under their other leg, and they're kind of in a weird like pretzel shape and it's comfortable for some reason. Yeah, let me get back over here. Oh goodness me, let me fucking something poking me too. I feel like I'm such a mess right now. I'm like uncomfortable in my chair for some reason. I'm doing all other things. I'm getting distracted, but we're good. We're good now. Let me just fix my hair real quick. Currently doing it right now. Yeah, I think a lot of people do it, and I'm curious like why that is. I mean, obviously it's like a comfortable position in some regards, but makes you like evolutionarily why it's so universal. Because there's always that, like, I do that. Yeah, I guess it is comfy. I guess I don't know why it's comfy, right? Hang on, let me fix my hair for the second time because I did it wrong. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. Let's go shoot some b-ball down by the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got one little fight. My mom got scared. God, that is kind of what happened, huh? Fucking Harun. Is that you, boy? Okay, for those of you who aren't paying attention to the bounties that I got on that board, they want me to get some midnight herbs, which only grow at night. Which means to tell me that there's going to be enemies that swim at night. Which is like all my fears realized. You're Harun? Jesus, dude. Talk about a fucking sailor. You're built like a brick shithouse.
Can't you see I'm busy?
Why'd you force that woman to leave the village?
You mean Ida? She's infected. All infected gotta go outside.
Is that Gersel's rule?
Some people don't want to make the tough calls around here. Well, I did. If Ida didn't want to get thrown out, she shouldn't have let herself get bit. Tough luck. Bad break.
What about her kids?
What about them? There's no Antizin around here. I was doing them a favor so they wouldn't have to watch us hacking up their mum when she turns into a fucking monster.
I'm starting not to like you.
Hey, I'm not looking for trouble. You seem like a good guy. Have a nice day, okay?
That's a really interesting interaction because he's obviously a very combative, standoffish person who seeks to have mostly very blunt conversations, but at the same time, it's like he's doing the exact thing that people in survival scenarios should do, and that's be ruthless and follow conditions and rules. So I wonder if he's like a nice guy that later on goes and you know, he does things he doesn't want to do, and then he becomes used to that, right? Sorry, I was just checking a message real quick. Alrighty, let's get after it. He said, "Have a nice day," and that's sweet. Now, what is that mission? Explore the quarantine zone, find the missing portal, find the house with red flowers behind the tunnel. Oh. Okay, here we go. Find the red flowers behind the tunnel. Alright, this area.
Now go fuck yourself.
Is that right? Yeah? You want me to swing this fucking...
Clean. I did the right thing.
Oh, he just keeps talking. I was like, you want to talk shit, fella? I'm right here. It's default stuff. There's fish here, which I hate that they have fish. Because that means they have water physics. Which means they've put other things in the water, right? Like, it's not Skyrim. They don't do this whole thing just for fun. Okay, no, I am going the right way. Keep forgetting it's a safe zone, and that's why. What in the world? Anyone else hear that? They're making noise. They're like, hey. Alright, let's get up over this fence and we'll just get out of here, hey? Hello, my brethren. Alright, crisis averted. That's just loud as fuck to do the finisher like that, but I mean, my gosh, it's so... What the heck? What's going on down here? We got a little get together? What the? No shot. Find the house with red flowers behind the tunnel. Why are these red flowers? That's not it downstairs. That's just a red, red doors. I mean, maybe that's it. Oh. Well, I guess I was right. Quick, before I save you, I want free shit. Honey, it's okay, don't you worry. You know, as far as stock Scream goes and scaredness and stuff, this feels very realistic. Like, sure, it's a little bit loopy because I'm taking like an hour to do everything, but that girl's genuinely terrified. Him doing homework. Oh, that could have been bad. I'm really sorry, girl. This sucks for her. I'll get right on that, Borgie. How are you doing, fella? Doge. Oh! What the fuck? Sneak up on me like that, lady. Please don't make me fucking, like, jump scare. Just let this happen. Perfect. I know. I know. I'm not gonna say stop crying, but I just... It's... I'm aware. I'm here. It's okay. Yeah, no, I searched everything. Now that it's all safe, come on out of the closet, eh?
Help, Mom, help!
Hang on, take it easy, take it easy. I won't hurt you. You're Jamil, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking...
Okay, hang on, I need to fucking...
So Mom took her to a man that found a medicine that fell from the sky. She said his name was Salim.
Do you know where Salim lives?
In the tool shop.
All right, now listen to me, Jamil. I'm going to go get your mom and come back for you. So you wait right here, okay?
Okay, just come back soon.
All right, we will. Don't worry.
That boy, rough, right? This boy had it rough. You get in here. There we go. Good. Anime Russia? Weird. Hey, look, it's small. Can I not? Who lives in the tool shop? Find Salim. Oh my god. Salim is way the fuck up there. So hang on. This is the area that we first started, right? This is the fishing area. This is where the lady gets kicked out and stuff. So she gets kicked out, and her two kids follow after her, I believe. And essentially, one of the kids comes back, or like the mom comes back or something, and they're like, oh, we got to go find them because we don't know where they are now. So then they go down here to their old house. Like, that makes sense. It's fine, right? I understand. It's like close. Bada bing, bada boom. They went to this guy's house, which is so far out of town. I wonder, like, did they know him already? Like, what justifies going that far in an apocalypse such as this? Now, I remember that this is a tunnel, and we can't get through here if we're going to go this way, so we're going to have to go up top somehow. And that's the tricky part right here, right? I got to figure out how to get out of here. Runner? Track star? Someone's figuring out how to climb. Good for you, boy. They're going towards something. I can't quite place it. Well, there you go, boy. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I don't know, like, what to do. I feel like there are some parts of this game that are just, they're really simple, and it's really interesting how, regardless of what I do, sometimes it's the same output. So I wonder, like, what's the worst way I can complete a quest, right? What's the by far most annoying backwards way to just fuck up a quest? Or like that kid, right? Like, I obviously have to secure the mission and check him out. It's really simple. There's just tasks that boom, boom, boom. Very easy. But, like, I don't know, man. Some of these things that I get up to seem ridiculous, you know? Now let's see if we can just avoid the main roads. Get up this way, because I think I can climb up there. Because I feel like I've been through the same areas like 10 fucking times, you know? To the point where there are fucking random events that I recognize. That's one, that's two. That was in one shot. It was pretty good. I didn't expect that to be like a fucking easy peasy. Alright, I got through the fun part. Just wants coffee. I made coffee. Yes, sir. That was awesome. I hope fucking runners don't come after me, because that's annoying. You know, having to get up there. Let me see if I can... Bada bing, bada boop up. Like, what time is it? 1500. I'm glad I checked, because I should go to bed in-game, reset the lobby and all that, right? Get this shit out of here. Alright, we're gonna wait till dark. I kind of like the ambience of the game at night. The only thing is, like, I don't like the flickering of the UV lights. I realize they're supposed to be old and rickety and shit, but it's just, I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel the same, you know? This is my favorite part, base jumping on, like, bullshit areas. I actually go forward from here. Alright. Any zip lines I should be aware of? No. There we are. Well, now it's smooth sailing. The only hard part is getting down without fucking it up, so left side will be pretty good for that. I hurt myself well before I hit the ground. The first impact where it like fucks up, but once I get the rest of it, I'm okay. What the hell? Is this a notable... Ooh, fake airdrop. Sheesh. I wonder how this one got there. I don't know anything about this one. What do you think is the story behind some of these extra airdrops? Like, obviously they have them as, you know, the leftovers, or I guess what they would call the non-essentials that get put out during the daytime, right? The whole I don't even know what you'd call them. Just the fucking like, it's just food, meds, flares, just basic shit. But like the really important stuff they keep at night. What is this? I mean, like, I want to say this was a mission somewhere. Being in this area. I don't know. I'm gonna go BRB for just a couple minutes though. I'm just gonna run to the bathroom and then I'm gonna see if I can't grab something more to eat. I'll just be hanging out for a little bit more. I'm not sleepy yet, but we'll see what happens in the next hour or two, because I'm not sure where my energy is gonna come from, right? But I will be just this will be a few minutes, right? Alrighty, I'm back. Sip of water and we're good to go. I always wonder if ice water is bad for you or not, right? There's that ever-going debate of having coffee and tea for feeling better and waking up, or if you want to do like ice water, then they say like ice water is not good because it shocks your system versus like, you know, just have cool water because any water is good. All that jazz. It's just, you know, I never know who to think, what to believe, right? Why is that thing dead right there? That was weird pathing. Do I welcome back? Hey, thanks. Glad to be back. Right now, would you shut up for 10 seconds? Before you make any more fucking scene, right? I know, it's just like it's almost like he wants me to die. Is this thing not open? Ah, I see. Now what is this? I don't know anything about this mission. I'm curious, right? Like what happens when they all get filled up? Well, first I'm going to grab that, whatever that is. I'll take alcohol any day of the week, right? You're not that fucking down bad for breath, silly boy. Who's fighting over there? What's going on? Ah, it's a runner, I see. Do you just... Are you... No shot. That's really awkward. Huh. Well, alright then. So obviously there's some parts that are, you know, entirely story-based, but it makes you wonder if there's any random things that you never get a side mission on and you just come across them, because I do like those. But I'd like to think with how simple this game is and how step and fetch all their things are, maybe not that they wouldn't activate right away, but surely there are side quests that do purely you need to wait until this happens sort of quests. That's a green box, so I might be able to get that, but it's just, I wonder if it's not worth it, because Salim's house is up there, but he may need like, oh, go to this fucking thing and help me out, you know? Oh, fuck. Come on, come on. There we go. Good lord. I love when the ledge is like just high enough for me that I can't grab it, so I have to get on something, you know? Hmm. Howdy. Hee hee hee. They'll never catch me. I do wonder if that's a thing I can grab though, right? Like, it looks like you can open it, but it seems to be a monster spawn just as any other. Right, this is up the road here. Ooh, that was a good one. Ooh, did you see me fucking move into that one? It's good. Just in time. You're good, fella. You're good. Don't worry. Big boy. Oh my god, we search stuff so fast now. I love it. I can't get enough of that fast search. Surprised I haven't found guns yet. I know, right? Like, the only gun I found, I don't even know if you were there for it, fella. I went to the boat here, and I went to the prison, which was no zombies whatsoever. Fucking, like, regular dudes were heading it, and I had to, like, sneak up, Molotov them, beat the shit out of one dude, get my rifle, and then get out of there. And there's only like 19 rounds, so like even if I wanted to use the rifle, it would not be fucking useful at all. Like, because like I remember there was one guy in chat who was like, "Hey, I need help finding pistol ammo," and I'm like, "Isn't the point that pistols are dog water, and you can just use like a sledgehammer instead?" You can search the fastest by running from the pile of zombies for like 20 meters and running back. They all despawn and leave packs of loot to instantly pick up. Yeah. I remember that. I can never figure out like the exact distance of it though, so I will keep that in mind and like see if I can like pin it out, right? Let me guess. Where is he? Oh, for fuck's sake. We're not out of the fucking woods yet, fella. Oh, smart. Going around the back way. Damn, my man is going for it. Don't go up, please. Oh, wow. Wow. My brother in Christ. There's a reason why we don't have any fucking antis, and it's because you guys run right into the zombies. Alright, fuck me. I gotta go up this whole thing again? Are you the runner? Well, that was nice. Who wants coffee? I made coffee. I wonder if Brogy's at work right now. I never know his hours. Salim? Okay, who knows the video of Samir and the guy in the car? He's like, hard left, Sammy. Sammy, you're not listening to my calls. Sammy, you're going to wreck the car. Hard left, sharp right, Sammy. Medium left, Sammy. Sammy, you listen to my calls. Sammy! Samir. Samir, concentrate! Concentrate! Stay on the road, Samir! I need to get that as a video immediately for my fucking channel. I love that video so much. Especially the one that they synced up to like a really damn close like Mario Kart track. Oh, it was so good. Concentrate! You're wrecking the car, Samir. Yeah, that's one of those videos that it's like, And okay, I'll never say that any of us are copying each other because we all just like TikTok videos and we want to just listen to them for 100 times. So like, you know, the fact that we have like funny redeems of like different pictures of ourselves and we all do like different TikToks, like it's funny that some of us have similar videos, right? Like if we all love the Sheesh dude or the fucking Samir video, like I'm gonna fucking play that all day. I don't care if anybody else has it, right? Like it's so good to pass up. You can't. Alright, so is it right here?
Salim! Salim, we need to talk!
Stop yelling.
I'm armed, so you better get the hell out of here.
You have to let Ida go!
You mean that stupid woman? She's dead. She was infected, so I had to kill her.
Now, her daughter says you have Antizin.
I don't know anything about this. It has nothing to do with me.
Salim, I'm not leaving without her.
Oh yeah? So you want to have a...
No, I agree. I think it's one of those things that you need to show as many fucking people as possible, right? But I think we've got our second ever fighting people because they said no story. Right? Like I've been able to schmooze my way eventually, but if the whole thing is like, hey, give me the girl. I don't have the girl. She's dead. I had to kill her. It's like, so you're not going to cooperate and give me her? It's like, oh, you want to fight, huh? Copernicus? You want to fucking dance with me? You're going to... You think the world revolves around those fists? Well, I'm going to rock you, right? Like, it's so stupid to think that there are people struggling in this apocalypse who are just trying to get by. And so a dude shows up at their door in just the middle of daylight, covered in blood and shit. Like you hear zombies dying in the distance, and you don't know what it is. But then the dude shows up and you're like, "Hey, give me that thing." You say no, and they're like, "All right, well, I'm coming in to get it." Then I'm like, "Oh, you want to fight about it, huh?" And then it's just like, I mean, what's the point, really? Just give me your fucking tape player, right? Like it's not that hard. You just want to live, then fucking sell your possessions. No shot. I do love the framing of a zombie apocalypse as something more politically believable. As a foreign policy issue, there are people who still suffer inside a disaster zone because no one has real motivation to actual help. Yeah. No, I like that too. And then on the flip side of that, the idea that somebody will, in the same community, even maybe in like the same house complex, will rig up things that will cause havoc for others and cause discomfort. Like every zombie movie has the can trap, right? Or the broken glass fucking thing, or like you hit a tripwire and it fucking, I think literally in Dying Light 2, fucking Get Out, or no, A Quiet Place Part 2, there's a thing where this guy drops a giant fucking like net of bottles as a tripwire thing. If anybody comes on his property, it fucking smashes. And obviously those things are like known for finding sound and they jump around. So like everything in the area fucking runs to it because it's this giant like 3-foot drop explosion of gas or glass. So for this dude to just have this rigged up, like, yeah, I've got a speaker system in my complex, which I didn't have before. I had to get it installed. And then I played a siren over it. You know, like what the fuck kind of... Also, like, who does that help, right? That doesn't help anybody. That's only for deterring people from your house. And then once, what happens? 50 fucking zombies show up and kill the one guy who's not like Usain Bolt mixed with He-Man like I am. He just dies, and now you have a shit ton of zombies that are just coming to your house. Like, that's... You're fucked. They'll just walk through the window and stuff, you know? Like... I do like this perk a lot, though. Let's try that again, huh? Take two. I don't even know what to do here. Okay, now it's over. Cooperation and mistrust. I agree with that. I like that. I like that concept a lot. The balance of, you know, I'm willing to believe that you want to help me, but at the same time you're demanding things from me, and I can't in good conscience just let that happen.
When I'm done with you, I'll hunt down her children and feed them to the volatiles.
Man, I wonder what happens when you go outside. It's weird. It's like snow, but mixed with metal. It's like hail, like really sharp, thin hail. It's almost always better for people to work together instead of fight each other and consolidating labor and support. I agree. Statistically speaking, you need to work together for even a slight chance of being able to cooperate and live, but that almost never happens. Marries the people up because they're afraid makes that almost impossible sometimes. Yeah. I mean, that's a really good way of putting it. I 100% agree with a lot of that. Sammy, are you unranking my card, Sammy? You have to listen to my calls. Ayo, wait, hang on. Ayo? Ayo? I can smell this one. Fuck the mission. We're going hunting. No runners, no runners, no Miami stop. Yeah, it's Mr. Birthday Boy. Thank you so much for saying that though, Grub. It really means a lot to me to hang out here and also wishing Small a happy birthday. We're all homies here, and that's a great feeling. I love my pewter. All my friends are in it. Y'all have a stuff? Is that what this is? Ooh, there is stuff over there. Is it worth stuff? Walking away, it's not worth it? Now that's an interesting thing, because you started this. Well, I suppose I kind of started it. Patrol member escaped? I don't give a flying fuck if he sucked me sideways with his running away ass. Like, I'm doing what I can. I got the cargo drop. I'm good. There's not a loss for him leaving, right? Like, that's the thing that they're like, they tell me that it happened. Like, yes, the fact of the matter is the patrol member left. What's he gonna do? Go tell Rice? I don't think they could stand it. Right, yeah, like, they don't... It's not like they have the choice. I thought they always just ran forward into death, no matter how many skull crane smashes. Yeah, I mean, especially when you're in the middle of these missions with him, like, the idea that until you finish up your thing with Rice and you've, like, confirmed your stance with him with the mission, they're just throwing bodies at these airdrops. And unfortunately, most of those bodies are smashed. So thinking at Crisis people would be good to each other, but then I played Psycho Frontier. I think that's maybe not a bad example, but like Space Tarkov brings out the worst in people, and I think a lot of Crisis does. Like the idea that loot is so easy to come across and you can just fuck up your neighbor if you wanted to is interesting. Because like I mean I love the like, as much as I'm a careful player and stuff, I will instantly fucking turn on somebody if it means I can get like an even slightly better piece of loot. Yeah, right. It's dead ass trash bin. Whoop. Come on. Not impossible for people to be good to be one another in a situation, but it's an uphill battle. I agree. You definitely have to extend an olive branch, and that's not easy to do. You have to be willing to just take an L and have them run away and give nothing. You have to hope that they will return the favor. Because they're not going to give you anything without a little giving back. And I mean, that's the same case in real life, non-apocalypse. Yeah, you have a great rest of your day as well, Freedom. I hope you sleep well, and I hope you be good. Anything else I should be aware of? Oh, there is a thing. Okay, so I could open this, but I didn't? What's going on here? Oh. Can I close this door? No. Alright. Samir, concentrate. Is that burger or baklava? Nice. Yeah, so head pat space, and then you do somebody's name. You are not listening to my call, Samir. Samir, you are wrecking the car. And I feel like I always butch the accent because Indian and like Bengali accents are so difficult for me because they're very different. That's what that does? Yeah, if you want to do just like the channel porter game, it's a bit more self-explanatory. Oh, God. I hope that's...
God, what has he done to you? Take it easy, you're free.
Yasmina, my daughter, she went...
She's safe, she's back at the village. Your son's still hiding at the house where you left him.
What am I going to do? We can't stay in the village. Harun will throw us out again.
You're going to take your kids and go to the tower. I want you to find a doctor there named Lena. Tell her that Crane says to take care of you, and that he'll make sure there's enough Antizin for you and your daughter.
You are Crane?
Yeah, I'm Crane. Now go back to Jamil, he's waiting for you. Yasmina's with your sister.
Thank you for being kind to me. I didn't think there was any kindness left.
See right there. I'm pretty sure this woman got sexually assaulted just by the chains and the rope and all of this, right? Like, it's disgusting. And that's just like a natural consequence of the apocalypse, unfortunately, the fact that people take advantage of people in crisis because there's no borders now, right? Like, the idea that a system that it requires laws and everything, and with how many people there are with different moral views, as soon as the laws start to sort of break down, everybody thinks it's free reign to do whatever they want, and it sucks for a lot of people who are just nice. Also, I think it's funny that in talking to that entire village, I know every single person's name and interaction. So when I meet this girl, she's like, oh my God, can you help me? I need to find that your daughter's okay, your sister's home, your brother's in 42 Wallaby Way, you left him, yada, yada, yada. Harun's a dick. Like, he knows the whole thing. It's Wild West again. Yeah, absolutely. It sucks, bro. It's scary, too, is what it is. Take me to the place I love, when you are away. I've had the Chili Peppers stuck in my head all day. I don't know why. It's not even like I listen to them all that much, but I was on a kick this morning. There's fart in a can. Love listening to that boy. Alright, what are we looking at here? Free running expert. Run longer, climb more quickly, gain agility faster, and get a set to ultimate running combos. Yeah, yes sir. Do that all day. Tic Tac? Allows you to run up a wall or flat surface even after a jump. Press space and W when close to wall. Oh, this is the fucking... What do you call it? This is the wall stamp that Small tried to do, but he couldn't because of the input thing. Totally lawless. Predation is king at that point. Yeah, it certainly is. If I was her, and you're all the same people, but I had never met you, that's a bit sus. Yeah, I know. It's hard to think, but you know, in that situation with how long that woman's been gone, you know, abducted, away from her family, from her kids, somebody shows up and unties you and says, "Hey, get out of here." I would take that W. Please tell me you guys hear the shit fart bowl, right? Like, what, are you gonna run away? It's just a fart. They're like, "Hey, what's the idea? What do we want to do for the sound design for this one? Can you provide a growl that sounds muffled?" And the guy's on the phone, right? And he had like White Castle, not actual White Castle, like frozen from a fucking can. And when he's talking, he's like having a fucking he's ripping them off like firecrackers, and you just hear it. He's like, "Oh, that's great. Whatever sound you just made, I like that. Make that the sound effect. It's perfect. It sounds canned. It sounds like everything we need." And he's like, "Okay." So he orders a couple of bean burritos from Taco Bell, and he just waits with some Metamucil. Always hear him ripping ass in his suit. Like, the word brap comes to mind when I think about how hard that guy must be violently shitting to make that noise. Can I talk to you about the herbs or whatever? I don't know if I have anything for you yet. Like, obviously one of them is go at night somewhere, but... Hey, Squidward, I'm chopping lettuce. At night. Look at me, I'm swabbing the bathrooms. At night. Ah! I burned my hand! At night. Night, 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 will you please? Here, take out the garbage and give me a moment's peace. Oh, sure, taking out the trash, taking out the trash at night. You mean outside? That's where the dumpster is, yes. Well, I don't know, it's kind of dark out there. But I thought you liked the night shift. You're right. For the Krusty Krab. He fucking just freaks out for like 5 minutes, and then he fucking throws the trash away, runs back inside, sprinting. Piece of cake. So you're not afraid? Nah. And then you fucking... Well, I'm surprised you're not afraid after, well, you know. What do I know? You don't remember? It was all over the news. Tell me. Wait. Am I crazy, or I do not see the area that it's talking about for the mission? Well, I don't know what this wants from me, right? Like, I'm thinking... I feel like I have a bunch of these already, though, is the other thing. Like, regarding all the fluorescent shrooms versus, I don't know, the lichen, the algae. I've got both those. Fluorescent shrooms. The herb I know is another one, but I don't know that the purple, other than the lavender specifically, is a thing. Hi, Sil. Good morning, fella. How are you doing? I hope you slept well. Alright, we're gonna throw on some music because I gotta go downtown to get this next thing. Oh, hey, look, it's kind of Emma, right? That's close, yeah. That's like the when you're hey mom, I really want McDonald's and I just came back from the dentist's office and it's noon. I've been good. Can I have fast food? No, absolutely not. It costs too much money. It's not good. We have better food at home. Okay, what do we have? We have Surefine, long-faced, four-legged animal with ears and sometimes horns. Alright, well, is that... What is that? I don't know what that is. You're just describing an animal. That's not a product name. What? Give me a name. Give me Oreos. Give me Cheerios. I want Cheez-Its. Something. It's like, so some of them refer to it as a goat or a ram. And I'm like, well, I suppose I can't argue with that logic. It's funny, I'm thinking like how I can clear that gap and like jump onto that thing, but not only is it barbed wire sticking out so it'll hurt and shit, but it's also a fucking palm tree right there. It's not exactly perfectly climbing able poles, you know, like it's... I'm not going outside and touching my electric grid just so I can monkey around, right? Because I'm still grounded, because even though I'm all the way up on that pole, I'm very much still touching a path of least resistance. I don't know that I want to necessarily look for the missing platoon just yet, because like that's this area, I think. Or sorry. And it just doesn't seem worth it. I realize abandoned is sort of a bad word. They're not looking for bankruptcy. But fuck it, I'm getting up on the highway. I've been good. Ah, fuck. This one, it's a white one too. No shot. Yeah, this ain't worth it. I keep thinking about it, and like, what's the best thing that you can get in a white box? Really nothing. Even close to good. Alright, without checking my surroundings at all, I'm gonna see if I can instantly... Half the country to a garage. What do you have to go find at the garage? Or are you picking something up? This is the wrong way. Oh no, it's not. This is a big ass fucking break in the road. I think this is one that I can walk through though. And my car fish for not an insane price. That's good. So you're saying in order for you to get somewhat decent rates, you have to go downtown? That sucks. fucking yelling at me. Oh, it was a good one. Wait. Have my ears been prancered? They have. I can get up over this little lip, technically. Did I tell you the first garage I went to wanted $270 or whatever the charge for work to replace a single seatbelt? Fuck you. Yeah, man, an hour and a half gets me like the other part of my state. And like if I wanted to go to the corner of my state, it would have to be like at least $100, 150. Are you fucking kidding me? Sometimes just like the lack of grapple is really tangible and it's scary. Okay, I guess. Are there any Jade runners that I should know about? Or Janner. Whatever. Okay. I know. I 100% agree, Small. I was just talking to my buddy who lives in Texas, and I think I did the math. Going from the far west side of Texas, like if we're talking the T, right? Like the longest fucked part that you could go through. From west to east, it's like 14 hours by car, and by then you could get through like 3 countries garnering or like forgetting about passports, right? That's the big thing we run into. The country fits like 4 times that in New York State. I will say 4 times is quite a lot. Was one of the shows that I watched the other day, and it was doing all kinds of wacky shit. But I remember it was talking about driving for long periods of time, and I was thinking about how universal that is. But in the same regard, it's just like it just does not fucking. It doesn't translate sometimes because of like how long the amounts are, or like how many people there are. Like when I think of a dense cityscape, I think of Pennsylvania's capital. I think of New York City, right? Ah, fuck. Yeah, right. Assumption is great traffic, but in reality, traffic is usually very not great. Now, who needed my help over here? Because I know it's not that guy down there. That's not one of ours. That's a bozo. Rip Bozo. I know Rip Bozo, I mean. That's what I name. Somewhat predictable if you get caught flat-footed when you're fucked. Yeah, I've definitely had issues with that in the past where, like, the one thing I despise more than anything is stop-and-go traffic, and I remember today I was called in to help out with some stuff, and that involves driving like half an hour away. Majority of the half hour would be on the thruway. Even though it was 4 o'clock on the dot, or like maybe 3:45, 3:50, I found myself stuck in one of the worst cases of gridlock ever, because every guy was going like 45 and a 55 and was kind of waiting for the TikTok thing to finish up. You're caught flat-footed, you're fucked. I'm thinking like the worst case I've ever had is just like in general, like the driving into work on the highway. It's like maybe you catch it at like 8:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock at night or 4:30, and you're just locked up the whole way back, and it sucks. Oh, fuck. Oh! Wow. The fact that that didn't kill me is a miracle. I should have rolled, though. I got him. Juked his ass. Makes sense that I know what those things are now. They're like a casket or like a one-man van thing, and it fits the airdrops in it instead of corpses. That's interesting. Oh. Oh, I see. I passed. Oh, I really fucked up my legs with like the dumbest shit, huh? Oh, buddy. Oh, that could have been bad. Alright, well, hang on. Let's... Now the fucking battle music is kicking in. Let's swap out. I wasn't expecting to be dealing with all that shit. But that is funny. I mean, this is the big dude I gotta worry about, right? Yeah. Got a fucking cleaver? I mean, my man is fucking... Come on. Oh, that felt good. Shut up, dude. You're so ugly. You're tacky and your feet stink. I'll play that fucking game all day. Come on, CPU, behave. There it is. Hey, what's going on? How are you doing, Bo? You're this boy. Got the voice baton. Ding 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 ding. Crybaby is a good one. Ooh, throwing axe. Hee hee. This is where it gets fun. Right, just outside, okay. So now we've got all the homies who are trying to get some phenol nitrate. Let's talk to my man. Let's see what's going on, hey? Talk with Ryan. Zombies. Psst, 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 psst.
Ryan, it's me. I got your stuff. Open up.
Thanks. They were just about to torch this place.
Who were those guys?
Competitors. There's no more phenyl nitrate left in Haran, so they were hoping I'd got my last order. Here's something a little extra for coming through for me. Guess this is gonna be my last batch. Pleasure doing business with you.
You know, take some advice. After you finish your deal with Rice, why don't you go somewhere else? Don't stay here.
Way ahead of you, pal.
Yeah, no, I don't think you are.
Way ahead of you? Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Like, don't be doing this shit in the apocalypse, right? Don't be signaling. That's no bueno. What other missions we gotta do? Reputables, I'm not gonna mess too much with, like... Gullies on the west side of the district, sometimes along the streams. Obviously, I have a reward for you if you can deliver them. Searching if not. Let's do one of these. Interesting. So I think I've already kind of passed where I can go to get the poison herbs, you know. But they're not too far of a walk. We can knock that out pretty quickly. So they're over here. Right, poison herb, poison herb, poison herb. I'm familiar with where they are. And the map tells me to, but I don't think I've ever gotten like poison herb right here. But I don't exactly want to talk to Rice just yet, so... Alright. Am I facing the right way? I'm not. I was already going the right way. We got here. Yeah, no, I'm close as fuck. The dreaded I can't go through here tunnel. Oh, she's right, going the wrong way. I suppose coming up that way, I have the opportunity to go, no, it's the same way. If I follow this to the left, is that a toad? I didn't want to fucking use my orange pick like that, but you know. Alrighty, now we're looking good, okay. I realize I'm just back in the fucking junkyard, but we're doing good. Yeah, I need duct tape. I like when they throw shit at me, because then I'm guaranteed to hit them. Easy. Don't do this again. Oh, Slaughterhouse Cleaver has proven to be much better. What is this achievement? Homo homini lupus est. I don't even recognize the name of this. Say 15 survivors from Rise's men. Homo homini lupus est. I imagine it's like save man from wolf. I head to bed and big blink. I'm real sleepy. Okay, fella, you have a good day. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Leave your stream on in the background, they'll take care. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, big hearts to oh! This one wants to give you a kiss goodbye. I love the music going on as I'm just fucking struggling with all this. Second time I've had to fucking... Is he dead? I think he's dead. Goodness gracious, me oh my. It's a spicy pizza pie. Oh, there's some good shit in there. Oh, I suppose I can take the trains all the way there. That's one thing I could do, is if I go back there, hit up the train. But let me talk to this guy first and make sure he's okay. There's the runners we know and love doing the same fucking animation they always do. I bet Rise's guy's already there because I took a half second. That's like the gold standard, is that they'll be there, you know? Even though it just spawned. Might get lucky if I get like a half second there earlier. Oh, uncontested. That's bizarre. That doesn't happen. Now that I'm up here, I'm just gonna cut, see if I can fucking, yeah, off ramp, go, boom. Okay. Oh, I got the achievement, Mount Everest. That's funny. What is Mount Everest specifically? So it's climb at least 8,848 meters on various objects. Okay. Ah. That's where they are. We're near water. Well, while I'm here, I might as well just keep going, right? I mean, spend enough time fucking navigating to get here. I see a couple. This will be the area where a lot of them are then, eh? Fully prepared to have Rise's guys just sitting underwater right here. It's good though, this is good save stuff from meds and on this on-site delivery package. There's like exactly enough wolfsbane. Oh my god. I guess we keep going. Well, hang on now. No, there really isn't anything for me. It's 1700 though. I'm gonna sleep here. Oh, I'm at the tower. Why the fuck are there so many up here, right? Like, why? What's... No shot, I'm at the tower. Why are they on the roof like this? This shit doesn't happen. Oh, I need that lockpick greatly. Very nice. Love that. The shield is very interesting. With how much I've been having to deal with that shit, like maybe maybe shields is the way to go, but at the same time, like, some really good, like, extra exploding cars? Oh, maybe. DIY grenades? Ooh, trap bombs that draw the infected, then detonate with 3 additional effects. Okay, okay. So the time release of it is, oh. Let me see. Let's do electric fences for now because I like the idea of an exploding car trap. At the same time, the camouflage attack and grappling hook master can wait as hacker. Ah, fuck. Come on. Don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. I'm up my ass there for a second. Yo! That sucks to be her. Let's sleep a little bit and then it's curious because like the more I think about it, the less I want to. I mean, I don't want to go outside. Let's put it that way. But the idea is very tempting. What time is it? Ooh, it's 2 a.m. I should probably go to bed. As much as I would love to keep going, I do have to do a couple things tomorrow, and I don't know, we'll hang out for a little bit. I'll just eat this Pop-Tart and then I'll go to bed. How about that? Got me a wild berry. I can't get up these things. No, I don't have anything to wash it down with, so I may go for a quick BRB to grab some chocolate milk and some water, and we'll meet back here. But not quite yet. I'm not there with thirst. I wanna eat some of this Pop-Tart. Oh, that is good. That's one thing I never get sick of is Pop-Tarts. Toaster strudels I can go with or without, but man, that first bite of Pop-Tart in the morning is strong. Is this a lo-fi Gravity Falls? Oh. So it is. Yeah. I'm just gonna be right back. No sweat. Just gonna get some chunky milk, you know. Alrighty, I am back. That's if we can't find a fella to raid. You know what? I think I got somebody. Let's go raid someone I've been hanging out with for a while. They've been doing great work, and they've recently gotten partners, so I'm proud for them. We'll say hi. But I hope everybody hangs out, vibes, enjoys themselves. He's a really sweet guy, and we'll talk in the future, yeah?